My lips are sufficiently dewy.
Said, do we?
The big girl shine. The little girl shine.
Hey, salutations, everybody. Hello, internet.
What's
It is
up, everyone?
we, your favorite hip hop podcast, the Prspctvs podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Liddy Bro Flacko. My co-host here, Holden Stefan Roy. Holden, say hi, Holden.
Hi, Holden.
There we go, my guy. Always with the on cue. And today we have a very special, very special guest who I have been hitting up periodically to see if we'd be able to get on the show, because I was really hoping to have her on the show for quite some time now. A legend, a New York City indie legend. Former member of the Polyrhythm Addicts, Queens vet, entrepreneur, all around God MC, Apani B, Fly MC.
Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all having me here this evening. And I love the intro. Thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank you for taking time out. I know you're a very busy woman. So we appreciate every minute that you give us. We're gonna cut straight to it, right? So we do our origin story every show, because I think it also is valuable to the guests to know how this came about, right? So the COVID year, me and Jess James, you know the bro, right? We were working on our Liddy Bros project, and our engineer was a homie of mine from up in Montreal named Merker Miyagi, Merker Studios. And Merker might as well be from New York, right? Where he has this attitude where he's like, yo, I don't promote anybody that I work with, because I don't want to have to promote trash, because sometimes I record trash artists, right? So he never promotes anybody he works with, but he promoted our shit. And that got Holden's attention, and Holden was like, what? Merker never shares anybody that he works with. So that made him interested. So he clicked on the shit, and then he checked us out, and he was like, yo, this is kind of cool. And then he did an album review on our album. And I was like, what? You did a super cool fucking album review, my guy. We should do an interview together. He was like, yo, I was going to ask you that next. What's goody? And so we did an interview, and sis, I felt like I went to fucking therapy, yo. You know what I'm saying? I really the man was like we talked about things that I just never talked about before in interviews. And so immediately, typical New York nigga that I am, right? Of course, I'm going to do the wait, I did this, so now I got to put on all my friends.
Let's do the link up, right?
You know what I mean?
Link up, right?
So I was like, why don't we do a show together? And I bring some of my friends to the table, and we talk to them, and we get to no free promo. And
no free promo.
No free promo.
We get paid over here.
And so, but thank you for lending us the space.
Yeah, right. I was like, oh, please turn down the music. Thank you.
Hit them with it. I see that they did lower the music. That's gangster.
I was like, can y'all please turn down the music? I have an interview.
So we did the show together, and it's been fantastic. We're on a year now, right? And it's been great, right? And so Holden likes to open up with his set of questions, but I like to cut him off like typical New Yorker that I am before he even starts talking.
Gotta have that synergy, right?
You know what I'm saying?
I already see the good cop, bad cop situation going on right here. You got the cool, collected, intellectual, quiet guy, and then I know you're the crazy guy.
You already know what time it is. You already know I come from the Bronx. It got to be crazy. So
I've known you for years. I already know what it is. When you said therapy, I had a lot of commentary, but I kept it to myself.
So, right.
You probably needed that, because you know you are the shape.
Facts, I did. So I like to open up with, why don't you tell the people who you are, what you've been known by, tell them where you're from, and then tell them where your parents are from.
Okay, interesting. All right. So I feel like I should do that backwards, right? Because if it wasn't for the elders, right?
Hit 'em.
So
That makes wild sense.
I'm a New Yorker, but my parents, well, my mom, she grew up in the Marcy. I'm the first generation. Me and my cousins, we of my age, not the ones that came after us. We the first generation that grew up in houses, that weren't from the South. My family on my mother's side is from South Carolina, and on my grandfather's side, on her side from Charleston. On my father's side, like Tennessee, Virginia, like all my folks from the South. And my parents were like the first generation to be raised in New York. A lot of them raised in Harlem, Bronx, Brooklyn. You know what I mean? And they worked hard, bust their tail, gave us the bougie life in Queens. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of my childhood. My parents separated when I was in third grade. Actually, no, my parents.
Hold up. Pause. No, we good. We can hear you, but we gotta stop because we're moving ahead. And trust, we're gonna go through your childhood with a little more detail as we really get into it.
Fine tooth comb.
All right, so let me pause that. But I'm from Queens.
So you
I represent Queens. I represented my whole music legacy from Queens. That's probably where most people would know me from. I dropped my first record like maybe around 19 or 20 or so. I started out my first record I was on was with
what would they know you by? Yeah. What would they know you by?
Apani B Fly MC.
Apani B Fly
MC. Is what I went by. I had a full official name, wasn't enough. I needed a title.
All right, we're gonna run through all of that with a lot more detail.
And B Fly comes from okay, so I'll save it.
Yeah, we trust. It's gonna come. It's gonna come.
I promise.
We gotta answer all that. But I do like to start it off with like a little opening question, and it's a little bit of a story.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna take a little bit. When it lands, you can kind of take it in any direction that you want it to go. So with that, it starts with my girlfriend, and she's washing the dishes one time. And she's got her phone out and she's playing the Black Eyed Peas song. I got a feeling. Ooh. She's vibing, she's dancing, she's doing her thing. And I look at her and I'm like, when in the fuck did this song become chores music? And it was like this big moment for me because I can remember like 10 years ago how this song is like a middle of the night. Everybody's vibing, partying. It's like the highlight of the night. And then 10 years goes by. And this song, it doesn't really like change at all because it's a song. But over the course of a decade, our lives evolved so much that now it's some music we throw on when we're working out or doing chores or some boring stuff so we can go back to like the happy vibes of a decade ago. And that got me thinking about the journeys of artists and musicians and stuff and the way that people talk about the story and the interviews and everybody and how we all start at this like adolescent phase, maybe like 12 years old, I started rapping, or I'm 9 years old and I first heard this, or whatever. And that's usually how people like to start the story. But if we think about musical journeys, that's not the beginning of the journey. So if you come out of the hospital in Queens, there's a good chance that there's a song playing in the room and a little baby Apani be absorbing the waves off of that song. Now, you might not remember that, but I do know that our childhood memories are super impactful. Like I can remember being like 5 years old up in Montreal in the apartment, and my dad's got the gray boxes in the living room, the freaking amp, the preamp, the radio, the tape deck, the wires go into all the different places around with that ghetto surround sound that we had in the room. And the daytime he'd be busting Led Zeppelins and things like that. And at nighttime though, it's the club music that would be coming straight from the MC Mario mixes and things. And then on the other side, my mom's, it was more like discos and musicals and love songs and this whole other vibe that came through. And then there's the pop music and the Disneys of my childhood and all this different stuff. And it created this whole smorgasbord of sounds and things and these experiences that impacted me to this day before I had any control over what I ever listened to in my life. So I was hoping, Apani, that you could bring us back to the youngest Apani you can remember being and tell us what it sounded like to be you before you had any control over it. But keep in mind that most of us don't come from Queens, and we don't know what you mean when you go, nah, I mean.
You listen to rap music, you know what nah mean means, because it means everything. Nah mean?
We know what that means, but we don't know what you mean.
Right. All right, so I could definitely break that down. Honestly, I had a very early emerging in music, and my parents were big music fans. My pops used to have the big 8-track in the living room. He probably doesn't know that I remember that, but he had the big 8-track in the living room, and he had, the 8-track was gigantic. It looked like a reel to reel. You know what I'm saying? And we used to play like the Stevie Wonder and all of the funk from the 70s, whatever was popping at that time. But my mom actually was an aspiring singer, which I haven't told anybody. I don't know if I've ever told anybody in the interview, or maybe I've said it very few times. But my mother was an aspiring singer when I was young. And she used to take voice lessons, sing like a lot of show tunes, gospel. She would drag me with her to rehearsals, but it was like real deal. She was going to like a real vocal coach, and I was a little kid, so I couldn't come in the room with her. I just listened from the outside. And then she used to sing in like different choirs. She used to be like singing backup for friends that sang country music, all kind of stuff down at the Blue Note, So I had an early.
The Blue Note downtown?
Yeah, the Blue Note downtown. And I was a little kid, so I was to be like embarrassed, like in the corner, whatever. Kids, everything our parents do embarrasses, right? But my entry into that was when I was a kid. I always wanted to be a writer, a journalist, and I used to write a lot of poetry. So and everybody used to tell me I was talented. I mean, people always encourage me. I'm lucky. That's how I was able to kind of get to the point where I could make a record, because I always had people tell me, "Yeah, you're talented. Keep doing that." So I used to write a lot, and I used to read a lot, voracious reader still to this day. Like I was like a kid, I'll be quiet in the corner with a book and a doll talking to myself, stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
I got a big
I
question
just kind of, yeah.
What is like your top books from childhood?
My top books from childhood, I used to like those choose your own adventure books when I was a kid.
Oh, I love them those? Shits.
Yes.
I love them. Yeah. Yo, I think I still owe the library probably like thousands of dollars at this point. They used to charge you. They just used to charge you astronomical rates that I'm like, that's why you guys went out of business. Because you charging astronomical rates for these late fees.
Exactly.
But I think that I probably still got a few because I love them books.
Yeah, I used to like those. I used to like the Hardy Boys. I used to read like a lot of mystery books. I would read the classics like Anne of Green Gables. I was reading Edgar Allan Poe, like just whatever I could get my hands on as a teenager. I really liked The Stranger, Albert Camus. Like just conceptual things. I used to read a lot of. My pops is a huge history buff. If you look on my Facebook, you'll see he be tagging me in a lot of stuff, or look at his posts or whatever. He's always posting like Black history, he likes some Native American history. He would take me to powwows and stuff like that. So I had a very, like culturally immersive childhood. Like he was just into everything, and that's one of the benefits of living in New York, right? You get to touch a little bit of everything. I was into all kind of stuff. Encyclopedia, you know what I'm saying? My parents would buy you the big encyclopedias and stuff like that. I would just sit. That's what I do for my kids now. Just sit, flip front to back, dictionary front to back. You know what I mean? Like I was just, and like I said, you
trying to make sure that your kids spell our OUR, not ARE and shit. Like,
I mean,
any certain shit that I be seeing nowadays online, and I'm just like, what happened to school?
My kids honestly are. I feel like I was blessed. Like I said, I put out like records, and I discovered that I was an artist. I used to like to dance too. I would go party and I would dance, stuff like that. And I had a little crew or whatever. We go to a party and get in a circle. Like, what was that movie? House Party? That was my life. But live at the barbecue, rapping at the barbecue in Queens. Like that was my life when I was younger. But
so hold on, when did you?
Way smarter than me. They on it early. My kids already like I'm an artist, and they like. My son is 11. We've been saying he's an artist since he's like 6, and my daughter's like 10. And they got crazy skills.
That's good though. They're when you got an artist for a mom.
Love science. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they connected with it early.
Still in that. Yeah.
They connected and have the self-awareness early. I try to encourage it, but they're real special.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. So like, when did you discover like hip hop, or that you had like a love for it? Like, at what point in your life did it become more predominant?
Well, like I said, maybe like around junior high school. That was like the era of banging on the tables and stuff like that. But like I said, I did poetry. I used to write a lot, and then I can't remember what, maybe like Rakim or like, you know, that whole Antoinette era. You know, I just started like writing raps, and then I started telling a few friends. In fact, my best friend at the time, one of the cats in our class, he used to make beats. His name was Carlos. My crew back in the day, DMO, shout out to Lifelong, Hostile, he's still around, whatever. Carlos, I don't know if he still works there, but he used to work at Fat Beats or whatever. Eventually, after this was pre-Fat Beats days, there was no Fat Beats at this time. But you know, we banging on the tables, and then my homegirl told him that I wrote raps, and he was like, "Yo, I hear you rap, yo." And we back in the day, we had a Casio. You know, these kids today, they can press buttons. We had Casio. We used to make pause tapes. You know, when you take the loop and you play the record, and then you just play the loop and then pause the tape, and then bring the loop back and then pause the tape. So you made a loop that was long enough to rap on. We were doing that in his room, in his basement, you know, in his pop's house. He was around the corner from me. But like I said, I was immersed in music. Like, so you know, I think when people think about hip hop now, I mean, it's big and across a lot of genres, but hip hop is really every kind of music, right? So, you know, I used to love jazz. I loved reggae. I loved, you know, my grandmother sang in the choir too. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, Mahalia Jackson, Andre
So
Crouch.
there was a strong church influence in the household growing up.
Well, you know what? I want to say church, but you know, it's more like spirit, soul, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the music.
I want to shout out my Uncle Jerry too, because my uncle, he used to play, when he was 13, my grandfather was pulling him out of salsa clubs because he was talented. He taught himself how to play every instrument. So he could play everything except, I think he said strings or whatever. And he was very talented, like from a kid. You know, so we had tons of vinyl records, and that's what I used to do a lot before I was even writing. I used to sit in the basement and play the records because I told my pops had his 8-track. My parents love music, so I was sitting out playing music. But sometimes I would feel kind of like I had this like sort of empathic superpower. I would listen to the record and I feel like I was transported, like I was in the room, like a fly on the wall. Like when the artist recorded the record, like certain people would do that to me. And it's funny that you was talking about like jazz, where you have somebody like, what's her name? Sarah Vaughan, right? Whose voice is always compared to an instrument, right? And I used to listen to some of these artists, and the quality of their voice would mesmerize me. So when I did start rapping, because I started saying, like, it's one thing if you could sing, right? You got somebody like Whitney Houston or Mariah that got all these octaves, but to be able to use your voice, right, when you're speaking, right? And it's just you as a rapper, one person in front of a mic, in front of a crowd. You don't necessarily have dancers, right? Because you're in the chitlin circuit or what have you. How do you come in that room with just you and the microphone? And you have to use your voice as an instrument to sort of convey the spirit of what it is that you're trying to make people feel and understand, right? So like people like Luther Vandross, Donny Hathaway, like the way they're able to wrap their voice around notes, Olita Adams, you know, different people, I would sit and I would listen to that record and I would feel like I was in the studio. I mean, this is, you know, before my time, of course, right? Like Donny Hathaway, I think he died the year after I was born, right? But I used to sit and feel like I was there while they were recording the music, right? And be transported into that space. Bob Marley was another one of them because he just had, like I said, it wasn't so much about like the gospel of it, you know, the genre, but it was about.
It was a spirituality in the person,
right? I mean,
it's not like it's
right,
and the music and what they emote into the music, what they put in it.
That's exactly the correct word, emote. So that was always my mission, was to try to bring that to people. And Pharaoh Monch said that to me one day. He said when you pick a beat, it should have God in it. You should hear God in the beat when you pick it, which I thought was crazy real, right? So don't you
love it when your artist friends say like the ill shit that you're like, son, I'm gonna quote that forever, bro. But
I think
you know them, and that's your friend. I'm pretty sure that Pharaoh. I'm pretty sure Moncho isn't like, you know. I'm pretty sure he's not like philosophizing for the entire time that you guys are together. But and then he had that gem in the middle of you guys chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, sort of. You know, he's a deep dude. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that. And, you know, and I'm just saying. You know, when you talk to certain people, everything that they drop on you is mostly valuable. You know, you have your light moments, but there's a lot of value in everything that they say. I will say, like, I feel like that with just about anything. All good information is transferable, right? If you get a hot tip, a lot of times you can apply it to many different, you know, layers and aspects of life.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It uses it for many different things. A hot tip is a hot tip.
Yeah, you know exactly. There's things that I learned at work that I end up applying to my relationship with my wife. And then, or there's something that maybe like I mature and I grow as a person with my wife in a way. And then that now reflects in my work and in my personal relationships with all my friends. You know what I'm saying? So what's applicable in one place in life doesn't just apply there. It's
I got a bunch of those things that I employ all of the time, like a bunch of little phrases that run around in my head all of the time that you know, that get me through.
Yeah, I like those. I try to look for that's why I love this shit where that's why it's perspectives, right? Because all we're trying to do is kind of unlock different people's perspectives through their story. So if I understand correctly, you're in the high schools banging on tables with people who would go on to
junior high school.
Junior high school. I'm in Quebec, which only has elementary school and high school. There is no middle, so I get a little trickled up over the American system. But so the middle part of the school, you're over there in the banging on tables era while hip hop is starting to really blow up in New York, if I'm not mistaken, for a timeline.
Correct.
How are you staying in touch with new music at this time in this pre-internet world?
Back then, it was kind of easy. Like, you know, a lot of stuff used to drop on the radio. I would listen to college radio. You know, your friends are like, you know, the funny thing is you talk about the pre-internet world, and now, you know, it's kind of hard to get as excited about new music because you have so much stimulation, so much exposure to something new all of the time. But you would really treasure when something dropped back then because you didn't have the frequency, right? So when a new record or a new single came out, that rocked for a long time. You know what I'm saying? You know, like an artist could drop an album. Now very few artists could do that. Like a Drake could drop an album and he's single rock for a year. Rihanna, she's still rocking off her last album and she rocking in 2016 or whatever. You know, they're still playing her drums. You know, but
Rihanna got songs from that they still play like it's new and shit.
Exactly. You could still hear Umbrella and people be like, oh, right. But back then you didn't have the frequency, so it was also like a lot more precious, and hip hop was also something that was like kind of new and it was very raw. It's not as polished and produced as it is today. So it really resonated, you know, with your life in general. And what you saw, that's a Live at the Barbecue. That was my life growing up. You know, and I'm always, you know, the only girl in the crew, right? So that's me going to a party, dudes picking me up. Oh, we going to Queens is all about barbecues, right? In the summertime, or at least it was back then. You know, so everybody was at the barbecue. You go from one barbecue to the next, and then, you know, everybody's in the cypher and you rapping. I'll be walking around in the village with my backpack. And you see a crew, and then it was, you know, it wasn't like no hate, but, you know, like no problem. It was just like, oh yeah, I know everybody knew everybody, you know, from the scene or whatever. You know, so, you know, you get some things by osmosis. You know, somebody's always putting you onto something because you got other artist friends. So, you know, you just kind of have this whole grapevine, you know, that's feeding you all of the time. And then also because you're very enthusiastic and passionate about it and it's your food, you out there hunting for it, right? You're out there looking, digging in the crates. You know what I'm saying? Like I would go to the record store and I would dig. You know what I'm saying? I had DJ friends. I had, you know, people giving me mixtapes. I mean, like, how do you find it? How could you not find it? You know what I'm saying? It was just like that. You know, you could get it because that was just my whole lifestyle. You know
That's wild. So you're running through the Queen stuff, and you're that's like the freestyle era.
Everybody I hung with did music, right? Or if they didn't do music, they draw. Or if they didn't draw, they dance. Like everybody in my whole circle was an artist if they wasn't related to me. You understand?
Did you do other things, but like what you said that you mentioned dancing, like did so
yeah, I
what
mean,
were
like,
the
Yeah.
things, the activities that you were interested in at that time, at that moment in time?
I mean, mostly it was writing, it was like rapping, but I had me a little I had me some equipment and stuff like that. So I was trying to make beats. I was never
Okay.
into anything like I'm a good talker and I'm a good writer, so that I was always the best at that. You know what I'm saying? But when I was in high school, I had me a little crew and we used to like go to parties and we would dance or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? Like I said, same thing like a cycle, you get in the dance, the circle and battle or whatever. So I would do that. But I wasn't like out doing competitions and nothing crazy like that. I mean, I was a cheerleader. I never told anybody, but I was a cheerleader my first year in college. You know what I'm saying? If you can imagine that. But yeah, I was into sports a little bit more. I used to like to run, like athletics and stuff. But I was never pursuing that like until I got to like my 30s, my real adulthood. I was in a Peter Pan lifestyle for the longest. All I did was I was focused on music and I was focused on rap, and I saw myself primarily through that lens. You know what I'm saying? As a rapper, and it was a lot harder for me until I had children, right? To see myself outside of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was sort of I had a lot of talents. I'm kind of like one of those people like and I hate saying it, right? Because it sounds like real egotistical. But
Okay.
I catch on to things really fast. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that.
Yeah, and I consider myself like I consider myself, because it's a quality that I admire. I consider myself to be fairly sharp. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
if I decide to put if I would put my energy into something, and I could pick it up and be good at it if I chose. But because my energy was so singularly focused on this one thing, there were lots of possible talents or aspects of myself or avenues that I maybe could have pursued that I did not take seriously
because
I didn't go as hard because I saw myself through this particular. Well, not just that. You know what the thing is too is about the scene is that it's like celebrity is kind of a drug, right? Or like the scene is a drug, right? Like I have my little celebrity and my little circle and my little things that I was doing. So not only are you looking at yourself that way, but it's a reflection of how other people see you. Because there's an expectation. I ain't put out like new music and for a long time, and I still got people. I post pictures of my kids, and somebody will be like, "When your album dropping?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can see that. I absolutely believe that. I would imagine. Yeah, I would imagine.
Right. So that's how other people see you. So you start to feel at some point that you have to meet the expectations of how others see you also, right? So like I said, until I had kids, and my children forced me to stretch myself. You understand? I was at a place where I almost couldn't visualize. Like I had other little jobs and things. I had a real estate license, but I've been doing a lot of different. Like I know you for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So I always be into all kind of hustles. I'll be selling stuff. I had all kind of hustles because I always been.
In New York.
I had an entrepreneurial spirit very early. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the only way I could do music. I wasn't signed to a label. I had my music. Like I said, he was making our pause tapes. He was making our demos. I'm going to the studio and I'm shopping it myself. I have my own label.
Wait, so hold on.
Let's go back to that.
Wait. Yeah, no, wait. There's wild things I want to go back to, but I'm gonna leave those other ones back there. I'm gonna attach to this one real quick, right? Which is like, so hold on. So you were funding your own musical endeavors even from the gate, like from the jump?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you have allies that people are like, oh, you sound, like I said, I had encouragement. So, you would meet people and people be like, oh, yo, yeah, I definitely work with you. So, I had different people that were definitely handing me an assist. But for the most part, yes, you know what I'm saying? And then, I would get a deal and then I would buy some equipment, right? So I was recording my own self at home. Eventually, what my final incarnation was, I'd be recording myself. I had my own studio at the crib. And then, whoever the producer was or the label was or the project was, I send it out for like the finals, you know what I'm saying, for the finishing stuff. But I'd be recording myself. I'd be recording myself in my own house.
And this is like, and what can we just like on a timeline perspective,
This,
when did you start
yeah,
to get into this?
I
Because
yeah,
like
you know what?
we
See,
kind of
this is
jumped
why.
all over your life, and
Right,
I
it's
know.
hold on.
wild.
Right,
That
Apani,
was a
check it.
crazy
So
montage.
this is why he says the Namin thing, right? Because you
Right,
gotta
right, right, right.
remember, like the Namin is like, I know
All
you,
right.
so
I
like
got forget. Right.
I know, right? But like he don't know you,
I
and
don't
then
know
like
you.
Right.
and then like his audience, right? And people that are online, they might be from Greenland. They don't know
Facts.
Right,
Namin
right,
at
right.
all. They don't know nothing about New
So,
York City. You
Not
know,
at all.
Blue
right,
Note. They don't know where the Blue Note's at. You know, like
right.
so. We want to
I think a
give
lot
as
of
much.
people know about the Blue Note though
I've
now.
No,
never heard of the Blue
they
Note
do,
really.
they do.
I mean,
But
like I might have
I
heard
Blue
of
feel you.
it,
Note's
but
No,
it
legend.
didn't
The Blue Note
register.
is famous. It's like if you're in the
Yeah.
jazz world, it's one of
Oh,
Yeah,
the
you know
most
about
famous.
the
It's
Blue
like
Note.
the Apollo
It's the Madison
of
Square Garden,
jazz.
yes. Like
Yeah, it's the
okay,
Madison
okay.
Square Garden
the
of
Apollos
jazz.
going there.
Yeah,
So what's
exactly.
the timeline of that? I would say so. Like I said, so maybe in my early days, like I said, we started out pause tapes in the basement. We was doing these. My guys at Inside
And
Practice.
you said that's in like middle school. You're
This is
doing that,
this is like middle school. We start doing this, right?
right?
And all through high school, I'm writing songs, and I had a group of different little factions. People. Because you meet people. Everybody's an artist, so they're like, oh, I'm doing this, jump on this. I'm doing that, jump on that. So that's how the artist world goes, and then something to stick, right? So this record that I did with Anti-Pop is like the first thing that I did that stuck. Right, and we did a tour behind that. That was my first time I went away.
Hold on, tell us a bit more about that, because
Yeah, what's that?
you just
Wait,
said I did a
wasn't
song
even.
I did a song and a
You did
tour
a
backed it
song
up.
and you wanted to wait.
And a
Word,
tour
like yo, that
followed,
is the
and she
ill
said it all in
stunt,
like,
son.
you
Hold on,
gotta.
that sound. Apani, that sounds like right. Like when I watch like NBA YoungBoy or like
Yeah,
YBN Namir, and they like in an
yeah.
interview or like some other young new guy, right? And they're like, yeah, I just started rapping yesterday. My first song I got put
I
on.
didn't start. I did,
Like
and they
you
say
said,
overnight success takes
that's
10 years. But
literally
I was
what you
telling you,
just did.
all right. Oh, so you know what? I'm leaving out
No,
something
no, no,
critical.
no. She actually did say I did a lot
No,
of
she
Yeah,
stuff
did.
until
She
something
did. And
yeah,
stuck.
I did
you were
So
making
until
add
something
that
content.
stuck.
like flavor,
But I did leave out
and they
something
stuck.
critical. So let me go back there, and I have to say this. All right. So if I want to say what my real first big break was, all right. So again, we're talking about the Blue Note. The hip hop version of the Blue Note in New York is the New York Poets Cafe. Am I lying, Flacko?
No, you're not
No,
lying.
New York Poets Cafe. So when I decided that I wanted to really pursue being an artist for real, professionally,
Mhm.
like I said, I made my little demos. I had my allies and people that I was recording with, and I had my songs, and I was just trying to get placed. So, like I said, we were running around battling, we meeting people, we going to do shows, open mics everywhere, just trying to get seen. Me and my peoples, right? Trying to get seen. So we had group records, and then we had everybody was a solo artist, right? So I got a couple of write-ups. I went to the New York Poets Cafe, and I was literally discovered by Bobito. So I don't know if anybody knows who Bobito is, but Bobito was a
Holden.
kingmaker.
So
I
in
learned
me
on
and
this
Holden's
show.
journey, yeah, like in
It's
me and
Bobito.
Holden's
Yeah.
journey of like being in each other's lives, right? Like there was just like I've tried to not be overbearing New York hip hop guy and be like,
Right.
what? You never heard of, you never saw, you never listened to. And so I don't really like bog him down with too much. But like I definitely like after like maybe 5 interviews together, they started becoming this pattern of like Stretch and Bob. And I was like, nah, bro,
Yeah.
you can't not know who they are. So like I made him sit through
Stretch
the
Bob.
documentary. The
They
documentary
had to get
that they put out.
show
that-
like
Yeah,
if
it's
you
pretty
wanted
good.
to get on, if you want,
Yeah.
if you wanted to get on and you was in New York, man, like you had no Stretch and Bob. So I mean, at this time too, I was doing a lot of different things. So who's my friends at the time? Me and Tyler probably used to hang out on Fridays in Brooklyn and go probably and go to the movies. I had this little job where I used to work for this place that did short-term apartment rentals. They were like Airbnb before Airbnb. So we would party, we'd have a show at the wetlands somewhere, and afterwards I would have people at the crib. I think one time we had like Dead Prez and Quali and like a bunch of different, like I would do different stuff. And then so but going back to the New Weekend, I was there, like I said, I was just in the scene. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the scene. and I was going to the Dominican, and I knew that I had to introduce myself to Bobito. He used to host this event, and so I came up there, and I was so nervous. I used to wear head wraps and stuff at the time. I had like little dreads, and I had my wrap like almost covering my face. I was so nervous because Bobito was a legend. You understand?
Yeah.
And I was young, and I was trying to and I'm a female. There was not that many of us. Now everybody is like, anybody could do whatever, but it was like 2 of us, 3 of us, and maybe there was like 8 of us.
It was always the amount of women. It was up until about 2000, and I would say maybe. I mean, recently, honestly,
it was. I'm gonna tell you who
women were very rare. Women were very rare in hip hop.
I'm gonna tell you who it was. It was me, Sarah Connor, Jean Grey, the Anomalies, and Peridot from the Juggernauts. That was the same. And then they had the Natural Elements, and I forget the chick's name because we fell out, but the Essence or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think that was her name. But they all on my, you know who all of the females were in hip hop? They all on my first single, Estrogen. That was every like female on the scene at the time.
We're gonna get to that. But let's keep on with the.
But so I went to the show, and I did my record, I did my performance, and Bobito hit me up. I gave him my demo, and he talked to me for a little bit, but it wasn't crazy. And he was, he gave me my props or whatever. I gave him my demo tape. And he played it on the radio. He called me like the same day because he used to do a demo battle, right? So you asked how people stay connected. Stretch and Bob show. If you wanted to know what's popping, it was Stretch and Bob. WKCR, that was the station. I gave Bob my demo. He called me the same day. Like, I'm putting a joint in the demo battle tonight. I was like, so he told me I was only the second female. Only the second female that had ever had my record played on the demo battle, and the first one was Hurricane G. Well, my thing keeps dropping out. Y'all know. Damn, y'all son,
that's some good competition, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I didn't go against her, but I was the second.
Some good
one,
company.
She was the first.
Good company.
Yeah, good company. Yeah.
Right.
So I was trying to call in, so you had to vote, and I don't even remember who they played me against. It might have been somebody who didn't even do nothing, but. He played me against somebody I literally lost by 1 vote. I was trying to call in and the line was busy. And I finally got in after the vote was over. And I talked to Bob. I'm like, I was just trying to call in. He said, you lost by 1 vote. He said, if you would have called in, you would have voted for yourself. You'd have won. So, but after that, Bob became one of my allies. Bob put me up in rap pages. He put me on I think he put me on like some ads, you know what I mean? Like just different stuff. Bob Mag, like he just was writing me up. He was putting me on opportunity after opportunity. And he was the first person that really, he was the first person that really gave me shine. You know what I'm saying?
It's amazing.
And that's how I got my start really in the scene.
So to recap it, you performed, met Bobito, were brave enough to approach him and do your thing properly.
Hold on.
Barely.
Correction, Holden. She's
banging on the tables.
She's banging on the tables.
Tapes.
Banging on the tables.
Exactly. And then pause tapes, then put out a song with some friends and went out on tour, or no, that comes after.
The tour comes after.
I think that came after Bobito. Yeah, that's like I said. I left the Bobito part out.
We're like building up to that. And a bunch of barbecues.
No, that's super crucial.
Also in the middle.
Yeah,
like Bob, like bro,
Bob was the whole
like usually like people's first advocates are like their homies. You know what I mean? I mean, true. I'm pretty sure your homies were also your first advocates, and everybody's are. You know what I mean?
Because we was doing the pause tapes.
Bobito,
but Bobito's
like your first like play to be like
Bobito. He put me on for the first time, and he gave me my first airplay for me on the radio for the first time.
I mean,
off my demo, off a fuzzy ass demo, that was on a cassette tape.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was also gonna say was, hold on, wait a minute. That's like the other thing that's like, like at the time, it was still super hard to record a demo on your own independently. Like that's something that a lot of people don't understand, that like
Absolutely,
back in
yeah.
them days in New York
You
City.
had to have the
'Cause I
ambition and
remember
the drive to make that happen.
a lot of ambition and a lot of drive
And
because
people believing in you because people don't want to give
and
you their
people
time.
believing in you. Yeah, because you weren't gonna get in the studio if people didn't think you were talented. You know what I mean?
That's
And
right.
I remember thinking
And
back,
who was going to give you beats? Where you going to get beats from?
yeah, who you gonna get beats from?
Right?
Back then, it was a very exclusive. It was very exclusive. It was not what it is nowadays.
I don't know if I ever paid for a beat in my life.
That's a flex.
That's super flex.
Yeah.
Super flex.
I don't know if I ever paid for a beat in my life.
Nice.
That's power.
I mean, but you know what I mean? I wouldn't think that you would have to, you know?
But if you listen
right,
on YouTube now, somebody got my first demo. I think it was Under Pressure was the record. I think it's up on YouTube. I seen somebody posted. Everything on YouTube is fan posted. I never posted anything of my own shit. Like maybe like some freestyles or something, but I never posted any of my own music. So
I noticed that.
With a gang of views is all from other people.
Yeah, I noticed
really
that. Cool. I mean, is that cool? Because I was wondering.
Well, I mean,
like, I
it's
thought
cool
that.
in this.
Listen, you know how you live a long time? People got to say your name when you're gone.
Facts.
That's how you stay immortal.
I think it's cool that you're in that list of people that people felt had to be online. Because, like, that's not everybody.
Yes.
There's a lot of
like,
postings and they got hundreds of thousands of views. So I'm like,
and those comments are
how
all
am I
over.
be mad at that?
No, yeah, right. Like, that's something to be super proud of. You know what I'm
arguably,
saying?
I think most of us would prefer a world where we didn't have to do all the posting ourselves and we could just sit back and be such a legend that other people post the shit for us.
I get frustrated with that shit, to be honest. Like right now, I got my own business and I got to keep myself in the tail every day to be like, yo, post your photos.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Live my life. I want to live my life.
That's wild.
Yeah,
So the Barbados situation unlocks doors for you, which leads you to a first
a lot
song.
Of doors to me. That was with Barbados co-signing me like that. I got into I was getting clothes, like I had like a little sponsorship with 555 Soul. So like every time I went away,
whoa, that's like
that's a super flex back then. 555 Soul. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Hold on, sis.
I was in a 555 Soul ad on
this is
on
like
the back
my
on the front of the back.
This is my. Let me tell you something. Yeah. This is my right where like my thing in hip hop, right, is like if I were to if I were to classify everybody under them old school like 90s terms where like you were so I'd probably be a flashy rapper, you know what I mean? Because I'm with that all day. I'm with the fashion all day. And 555 Soul is one of those brands that back then was like the best brand. They were making things in clothes that nobody else was making.
Nobody.
That right now could come back and be like couture.
I bet you I still got a piece or two in my closet somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, that's easily worth wild bread.
Bread. I'm not my 20-year-old weight anymore, but the pieces were so crazy. And then I had a bunch of custom pieces and stuff. Pieces were so crazy that some of them I just was like, I can't even let go of this. You know what I'm saying? But I used to go away and then I would go be like, oh, I'm going out of town. I would go up in the warehouse and come out.
That's so blessed.
Bags. I was cool with Camilla, whatever she was good people. They used to own the brand, and I did an ad for them that was on the back of the front cover, the source. So like him.
That's like the whole like photo shoot up and
go to people. It gave me credibility. You know what I mean? So I could go. Like I said, I was putting out my own records after I did the anti-pop record. Like I said, I was doing stuff with a bunch of different people, and then that whole tour. And the first time I went away was them. You know what I mean? Like that was something that they planned. They wanted to have me on a record. That was like a strategic move. And we went away. I think we did like the UK. We did London for like a week. 10 days or something.
Whose strategic move was this?
My guy Priest was the head of the group. And you want to hear some funny shit? I'll tell you the next one. So when we went over there, we had a bunch of handlers, right? And we had people that would take turns. So we were like in somebody's apartment, and they moved out their apartment for a week so we could stay there and do all our shows. We did some great gigs. We did a group. Oh my God, I can't remember the name of this group. We did a record with a group that was signed to like London EMI or something like that over there. The record was called Free, and the name of the group escapes me, but I will like tag it or something somewhere. But unless you got a Googler back there on the staff. But we did some
yeah.
We did some
I was like, I
recording.
could do that.
It was called Free FR with like 2 3s backwards or something like that. And so we toured. I mean, like we did a bunch of like press and stuff like that. We did a bunch of goofy ass clubs. That's my first time overseas, and like I said, it's the first record I had been on. So I was like, super hyped or whatever. And we had one of our handlers at the time. So like I said, we had people that were handing us off and taking care of us every day, right? And one of the people who was my handlers at the time, who was in charge of taking me around, was Estelle.
Estelle, that's crazy.
Estelle, she was like a young up and coming, like she didn't have anything popping yet, but she was one of the people that was taking us around and
that's awesome though.
Sure we got places safe.
That goes to show you how she was.
I mean, we don't hang out or nothing. I don't think I've spoke to her.
Yeah, no, but still, the fact is, she was she was as motivated as you were, right? Like she was young and motivated.
Yeah,
she was
but
out there trying to get her name.
Well, it's a different place, so it's like every place has their. Every place has their luminaries. I remember one time somebody asked me to be on a record, and they was like, "This guy is the Jay-Z of Russia." You know what I'm saying? So every place has their folks. You know what I mean? It has their scene, and you see that when you travel. I mean, I was in Poland. I went to Belfast. I've been in Japan. Everywhere had their scene, and they had their people. You know what I'm saying? DJ Honda, he was the Funk Master Flex of Japan at the time. You know what I'm saying? And so I think I did a project. On Honda's one of his compilations or something. He used to have a radio show and stuff like that, and he was connected to the same people. Because the scenes are small. Everybody in the scene know everybody, right?
Right.
But yeah, so but we went out there, and then they were like, all of these titles and hyphenates that she has now. People are like, yeah, she's this poet, and she's really good. You know what I mean? Like, but now she's like doing a bunch of stuff. So God bless.
She's
she was always, she was hungry. And we was all hungry. That was the time, and there was a lot of inspiration to go around.
Right.
Right. So
where else did you go on that tour?
That tour was strictly the UK, but when I came back, like I said, that gave me, that's how it goes, right? Like you put out a project. Like I said, I had the credibility from Bob. I had already been away, so now it was easy kind of for me after that. That was my expectation also. I put out a record, I shop it, I get somebody to pick it up, I put it out, we promote it, and then I'm calling my booking agent, whoever at the time, my girl Karen. I still mess with her. She was based in Germany, so I've been to a bajillion cities in Germany. But we would call her, and then we would go out, or somebody would call me and say, "Hey, I want to come and fly you to this place. Come fly you to France." I think France was my next gig, and I got that on the humble. I was going to the New Eureka Poets Cafe for a show, and my Polyrhythmatics record had just come out. Like that was another project we had going on the side, and that was on Nervous, right? Same label as Black Moon, and what's his name? Mad Lion, you know what I'm saying, at the time. And I had the record, had the 12-inch, the vinyl under my arm, looking like a super B-girl, walking through the East Village on the way to the New Eureka. And this black dude stopped me, looking like he was one of the Force and Bees and shit. He was mad. Brolic, as they would say at the time, right? And he was like, "Hey, you know what? I can see a hip-hop show?" It's like, "Of course, I'm going to one right now. Why don't you go with me?" Right?
New York. I love New York so much.
Yeah, I was like, "Come with me, bro." So he was like, because he started talking to me, he's like, "Yeah, I'm a producer from France." And France had just won the World Cup or something at the time. And they had made a record for the France World Cup win that went, I guess what would be the equivalent of viral at the time. It became a huge hit. They made a shit ton of money. And they was looking for some artists. He said that they had been working with some French artists, but they wanted to make some authentic sounding hip hop with American accents. So me and him are probably in the whole time on the walk. And he's like, "I want to work with you, but I need a guy right now." I'm like, yeah, whatever. I was like, I'm gonna just bring the dude. He trying to pay somebody. Everybody's a starving artist. I said, I'm about to roll up in the club with a check for somebody. It's gonna be love, right? So I just went and I introduced him because, like I said, it was the scene. Everybody was there. So I just went and introduced him to everybody. He took everybody's numbers. He took my number. He was like, yeah, I'm going to call you. I was like, yeah. 2 weeks later, dude called me and was like, remember me? We met in the street. You had the record. You took me to the show. I was like, yeah, dude, what's up? He's like, when can you come to France? I was like, I'll immediately said, right? Like, so that was my next trip, and that one was by myself. So I didn't do any tours. I just reported. I think I went there for I had a job at the time. That's when I was working for the guy that was the Airbnb before Airbnb. And the way I had my job set up at the time is I had it so I could travel. I was doing little college shows and different stuff like that. And I had it set up so I could travel and do my thing. So I worked 4 days and I had 3 days off, right? And it would be crazy because like I said, it was like an Airbnb. So people would come in and travel, and then I would go meet them at the spot, and they gave me a cell phone so I could go and take people. But he had over 200 apartments all across New York City. So like I said, I had access. I could pull any key that I want. So I would go do a show with Wetlands, and then afterwards for SOBs. And then afterwards, I would just go post up, have an after party at one of the empty apartments.
Flags. What? That is so dope, bro.
Yeah. So, but anyway, but I was taking so many days off to record, do this, do that. The dude had told me, he said, this time I think I stayed within the confines, but I wound up losing that job because I kept saying, oh, I need a day off. And he was like, look, next time you tell me you need a day off, you quit. So that, I think it was like the next time after that, but every time I had to ask, my stomach was hurting because I was like, he was a good dude, and he loved me. I did good work or whatever. I had the personality, so he was cool, older dude. But
goes to show how humble you are, yo. For you to be worrying about that at that time. But I would have been so egotistical. I would have been like, my guy, listen, okay, I'm a fucking star.
That was a good hustle though, because like I said, I had access to these apartments. I didn't have to pay for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I could just stay where I wanted. I could stay where I wanted.
True.
Like I had access to the whole city. He had anywhere in the city I could just stay for free. That was a come up. Are you kidding me?
It's a super look.
Yeah, it was a super look. I got paid for that, so it was always convenient. I live in Queens. Queens is what's bubble. We didn't have all of this, and I was a young starving artist. We had to wait on the bus. That was the 2 fare zone days. Where you had to get a transfer. You remember that? Getting a transfer.
Mm-hmm.
I do not remember that.
Paper transfer.
I know.
Paper
Canadian.
Transfer. Paper transfer.
I had to get a transfer. I was in West Bubble, so I would be coming back from a show at 3 or 4.
Wait, where were you in Queens?
I live at Hollis. I live around. I don't know. Everybody knows where the Jam Master J, the Jam Master J mural is in Hollis. I literally live around the corner from that mural. You know
Hollis is pretty deep Queens, guys.
It's
really deep Queens. That's at least an hour from Midtown.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. And then it's a bus after that at the time, right? So now we Uber, but it was a bus then, and then you gotta wait on the bus for 45 minutes to an hour. So I was young, and I'm a female. I'm out there by myself. I could go stay in a spot whenever I wanted. That was a come up, and it was my little hustle money, right? Because like I said, I was buying equipment. I was going to the studio. I was in every spot. I could, buy drink. Also, what was the other shit that everybody did? Lyricist Lounge, right? Danny and those guys. I'm cool with them. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was just everywhere doing everything. So if there was an event, you see me there. I never had to pay. I got it for free. That's why now I don't party, because I don't stand online and I don't pay for tickets. You heard? You know what I'm saying? So
facts.
I'll be home.
I remember.
We got snacks. We got Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu.
You guys.
That's a party.
You guys were a part of my, when I came on the show, or when I interviewed with Holden that time, you guys were a part of my story of I got to be young and be around you and Gene and Sarah.
Right.
And
Well,
for me, it was all the way. And you guys were absolutely you guys were the party.
Everywhere.
You guys were the party everywhere you went. And y'all were the scene. You guys were before
Mhm.
Sex in the City, before Girlfriends, right? Because people like to pretend Sex in the City is the originator, but like Girlfriends is the originator, right? Like Girlfriends is
Right, right,
the master mold, and Sex in the City bit
right,
Girlfriends. But before Girlfriends even
right.
existed, you, Gene, and
Right.
Sarah were the scene
Yeah.
of New York City's
Everywhere. We was
indie
the
scene.
scene.
You guys were
Yep.
everywhere. You guys were everywhere. You guys were party
Yeah.
hard, and you guys were a
Yes.
good time. Like
All
you
night.
guys, but
Break
you
day
guys
for
were,
days.
and you guys were strong. Like I always consider myself a blessed man in the fact that I've always been blessed to have strong women, um, in my life. Period. From my mother to my
Yeah.
sisters
And thank you for
to then having you guys in my life, and then my wife in my life. Like I've always been blessed to be around strong women. But like you guys were the
right.
scene, had a good time,
Yeah.
but like we're
Yeah.
strong women that were like
Yeah.
it was
Mm-hmm.
it was not a game. It was not like
No,
guys
it's
were
not. It
just
was
like,
not a game.
oh
I mean, it was cool because we partied for a living, right? But it was not a game. It was like what we did, right? It was like
yeah,
our job. I didn't even almost like now that I'm an older, I kind of process it different. Like, man, I was an entrepreneur back then. I was a business
yeah,
person. I was a business. You know what I'm saying? It was my.
absolutely.
I mean, I
Like
saw it
for
as my
you,
profession, but
the
to
fact that
think
you were
of to
working
be so
and
young.
funding yourself
Yeah.
and you were funding yourself, like you were literally
And get my own
independent.
bills.
Yeah, like at a time
Yeah, get my
when it was
own
actually,
bills.
when you think about it, that was technically
It
speaking
was hard for
the
everybody, much less women. Yeah.
the birth of, you guys were kind of like the birth of the new, what we still to this day consider the indie scene. You know what I mean? Like the
Right.
New York
Yeah.
City underground back then, like was cultivating a scene that didn't actually exist. You know,
Right.
and like creating
We
a
did. I
scene.
mean, New York, people always think about New York as the origin. And that was, like I said, we asked how did it start, and that was the origin. And, we had all those vibes, and it was like, we could touch it. As a matter of fact, I left out another crazy story. You want to hear another crazy story? I'm going to take it way back.
Yes.
Right. So back in the day, remember Stetsasonic?
Yeah.
Old school
That
Stetsasonic.
Oh
Right?
yes.
They preceded
they were the
Roots.
first.
Like
They were
hip hop band.
the hip hop band. Yeah, the first hip hop
First
band.
hip hop band. So one of the lead dudes from that group, The Light, I don't know how the hell this dude found me. I guess just word of mouth. But he hit me up one day and said that he wanted to work with me. He was trying to put together a female Wu-Tang, and he wanted me to be the head of
That's
the group.
crazy.
So we used to record. They had this building in Queens called the Music Building, and it's legendary. Jam Master Jay, a bunch of people had studios there, and he came. He played me some beats. He sat on my couch and talked to my mama because I was dumb young. Sat on my couch, talked to my mama, and told her how he had all these intentions and what he was going to do, and he believed in me and all sort of kind of stuff. And that was back when
Wow.
my mom, when we had plastic on the couch. So I just see him sitting there. He was mad tall. So I keep seeing him sitting on the couch with his knees in his chest with the plastic on the couch. You know what I'm saying? Telling my mom, how he was going to
Like,
make
yo,
it. But then,
I believe in her. Yo, but that's super powerful. Like right now.
yeah, I had a lot of touch moments. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah, like
moments,
no, but that's a blessing.
Yeah, the music building burnt down. We was working on stuff, and it's famous because, like I said, a lot of people's work was in there. If you look it up, I forgot. Like everybody used to work in there, like especially all the Queens artists. Everybody had projects and stuff going on. They call it the music building. It was on Jamaica Avenue, and it burnt down. And then after that kind of killed the project. Everything died after that. But that was one of my little early engagements. Like I just had all of these little things that touched me on the shoulder and kept telling me, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Yeah. You were getting led down the direction, the path that you were supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I look at it now, and now I'm like in like a real spiritual way. And I talk about growing up with gospel in the house, but I kind of felt like at the time that was kind of like my ministry, right? Like, especially when you start touring and you're going to places where people don't even speak the same language, and they know all of the words and you're touching them and stuff, and you start to see the impact that has on people. That it's a gift, right? Not just that you're giving, but it's a gift that you're a blessing to have that.
Receiving,
and to have that experience and be able to do that, right? So yeah, like I said, I just kind of just kept getting reinforced that, that's what I needed to do. So it wasn't nothing to me, it just made sense. Like me and my crew, we had a radio show. I used to work at Loud Records, at one time.
Wait, you used to work at Loud, you said?
Yeah, I used for Steve Rifkin, yeah, SRC.
Were you there? When were you there? Were you there? Because Mickey, this is the cool thing about the show, right? Is that like at this point we've been doing this so long that like sometimes there are a lot of things that are like recurring themes. Like a majority of us came up making pause tapes, right? Because that's just when we came up, right? Like
that's what we had.
Mickey Fax, when he was on the show, said that he worked at Loud Records while he was was it for you? Maybe were you guys at the same time working there?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
But I used to work for Loud. I did
what records were
radio.
out? What records were you promoting at the time?
Oh man, well, we had I think we had who had already come out. So I think this was I think Raekwon was out, Only Built for Cuban Links. I got 1 million copies of that album still in plastic in my house. Sadat, Wild Cowboys.
I remember that record.
Before Missy dropped, Gina Thompson, and she was on that record. The
things you do, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of our records at the time. This chick Davina from LA. That was one of our projects.
Man, that's an exciting time. That's an exciting time for you to have been there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well,
I got that job by having a radio show. What we used to do, I used to try to create my own opportunities. So we had a radio show so that instead of us having to go and try to play the record labels would call us to play their records, and we would just, capitalize on these relationships.
So how did you start the radio show?
We were on a radio station that we paid for that. We came out of pocket. It's called WBAI, 99.5 back in the day.
That is the station that another one of our guests that came here. One of our guests was Jason.
Oh, okay. They about to close in here.
Oh shit.
We still in here. Yeah. But so what do you call it? WBAI was one of the stations that we used to be on. And like I said, we was throwing our own shows and stuff like that. So I mean, whatever was that? I can't even remember what year that was. I'm sure there's a picture somewhere online.
98, 99?
Probably earlier than that.
Okay, 97 maybe? 96, 97? 90, wait, 95 I think it might have been.
Oh, it could have been 95, I don't know.
Wait, I forgot what year Purple Tape came out. I'm gonna look it up.
Somewhere else I could post up. They literally turning the lights off and putting the
Purple Tape dropped 95.
95?
Yo, what up, Power NYC? Yeah, it dropped 95. So you was on you
We'll go with you.
Yeah, we're
we'll
happy
to
go with you.
Yeah, we'll walk with you, absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
From my perspective, it's always exciting to see New York.
I mean, if your appointment is ready.
Yeah, like
I also understand.
I'm in a Starbucks. I'm good. Because I'm like I said, I'm far from the hood. I should have walked out on the train, but I'm in the hood. I'm far from the hood, so I was like, let me just post up or whatever. But yeah, I don't quite remember. Like sometimes the stuff, like there was so much stuff back then, and I was like smoking a lot of weed. Stuff kind of blurred together for me. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
It blurs together. But,
so you created the radio show, and that got you to the Loud Records. And what did you do at Loud?
radio promo, college radio. I used to work. I was like an assistant to this dude. He was the college radio, head of college radio at the time. And then I wrote a few articles for Bob Records. This thing, let me go. Pull my tablet out. I'm gonna change the perspective a little bit. Where the camera is? It's up here.
Yep.
Okay, that's better. There we go. All right, guys. So yeah, we can walk through the crazy thing. Like a hobo. Yeah, so I mean, it was fun. I had so many different experiences. You know, coming up and stuff. And I think for me though, the most exciting stuff to me was like just being able to travel. That was like always my favorite part of what I did. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Everybody give it up for Starbucks.
Shout out Starbucks.
Fact. Shout out Starbucks. Shout out to Starbucks.
I only have
on the Upper West Side.
Not
too far.
I love that neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm not too far from Lincoln Center right now.
Oh, nice.
So,
I sort of know what that means.
Lincoln Center is like a famous. It's one of the most famous halls where like
Lincoln.
Classical music.
Like you could go to Lincoln Center and see like a Philharmonic, like
the
Alvin
Philharmonic,
Ailey or big performance venue.
Big. Like it's the
Upscale
where all the rich elite. That is where they like what they do on a Friday, Saturday night.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I walk by it. I'm not too far from Central Park either. So
shout out to DJ Evil D in the comments.
Yeah.
Who probably showed up because
here?
of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, he's another one. Speaking of not paying for beats, that him and Mr. Walt, big supporters of mine. You know what I'm saying? And we did records together. You know?
Yeah.
I know E from way back.
I was gonna say I saw that you had a couple Beat Miners joints that came out a couple of years ago, actually. Like not too long ago, like 2008,
more than a
I think it was. 2000, I think it was 2008.
Don't ask me no years and have me out here lying because I don't even know. I already told
well,
you.
Everybody knows that
smokeless brain.
It's not necessarily hard facts. It's rough estimates.
Don't get me to lying because I don't know. Shit was like yesterday, but it was not.
He sent his love. Shouts out to
Hey, I love you too.
That's really cool.
Much appreciated for stopping by. So you know what? I've been wondering, Pani, right? Like, how did the polyrhythmatics thing come about? Like, how did that like who was it that like coagulated all the people that were involved in that?
All right, so that's funny. That was Mr. Complex doing a record, right? So I had already done, like I told you that my deal was I would go record and I would just go on tour shopping my shit around in different labels. And I had a contact at Nervous. So I did, I shopped a couple of records. I did like compilation project or whatever for them. And he was like, yo, what else you got? He was like, I know you got some shit. You always doing some shit. You holding out. I was like, well, I got something I can't play you. Right? He was like, what is it? I was like, well, I just did a record the other day with Mr. Complex, Shabam Sadiq, DJ Spinner. He's like, yo, stop playing. He was like, you can't leave here unless you let me play that shit. You should play it for me. Oh, Juilliard over here too, right? So I was like, all right, man. I said, but I'm not supposed to play it for you. Mr. Complex tell you this story to this day, and he'll be like, I told her not to play it for nobody. He told me not to play it for nobody. He will tell you to this day, he told me not to play it for nobody. It's 30 fucking years later, yo.
Still ain't let that go.
But I played it. He can't let it go. So, but I played it, and then the dude was like, yo, he was like, all of y'all, this is a fucking super group. He was like, I'll give y'all a deal. I played them the song, and we walked, and we got the deal.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
That's wild.
All right, so New York City, This is Lincoln Center, so now you can't say you never seen Lincoln Center.
The beauty of
really
Lincoln
cool.
Center.
Yeah, Upper West Side is gorgeous. It's one of my favorite. I mean, I have a barber business, so I'm always all over the city. But Upper West Side is gorgeous. It's very peaceful up there. I love being here.
Facts. Me and the wife was looking to get into like the hundreds. You know what I mean? The rent though is where I was looking at. You know, I wanted to be over by Riverside. You know what I'm saying? Like Riverside.
Yeah. That's where my client is. That was just on Riverside.
Yeah, exactly. Riverside 102nd is like, you know, like a solid 4 racks a month. You know what I'm saying?
I told you I had a real estate license when I got my license. The dude told me my first day, and this was back, I think like 2003. I got my license, 2004. First day, dude was like, "Yo, if the apartment costs less than $3,000, there's something wrong with it." All right. So that was then. So you know everything has exponentially risen since then. New York is not cheap, but you're paying that convenience tax to live here. And honestly, it's gorgeous. You know, it's a vibe. You know what I'm saying? It's a vibe. It's a mentality. There's levels to this shit, as they say.
It is.
Because New York, you could be here with the vibe and be on some super entry level shit too. This is not.
Yes.
Like you know, I don't know if
New York has many like tiers. Like you don't have to enter at the 100. But the thing is, if you enter at the 100 tier, right? Like the level of the 100 tier in New York City versus everywhere else is like, no, bro. This is like
it's still way
different. It's way different.
Way poofy. Yeah. You
like,
could be at the bottom and be feeling like you at the top somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. But you know, it's that.
We lost.
Oh no. We lost her. That's not the best.
We'll stall, right? Like, so check it, like, you know what I mean? Stretch, right? For show, right? She'll be back, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
the Evil D's in the comments. He's like, damn.
Yeah, no, I appreciate y'all coming through like that. Stills.
Thank you so much for being here. Give her a second. I'm sure she'll log back in.
I'm sure it's just like the headphone hung up on the call type thing. Yeah, it's cool to see y'all here.
There she goes. I was gonna ask her. There you go. You back, Apani.
Yeah, mad love for Apani B. She be destroying mics. Lyrics are insane. Big facts.
Yes, lyrics are insane.
Big facts. Yoga Frog Caps. I like that name actually a lot. We just need Danny or somebody to pin Apani. And then we good.
Oh yeah.
So we can hear Apani if she unmutes, but she's there now.
Sorry, technical difficulties.
It's okay. It's the beauty of Twitch.
Yeah.
So shout out to Mama Wise.
I'm about to post up right here. Oh, my girl yesterday, she on?
Yeah. What's good, Apani? 3 purple hearts. That's 3 purple hearts, yo.
Yes. I forgot to mention her. She was on the scene too. I forgot to mention her. She was on my record back in the day. I'm about to sit in front of this one because you can see the chandeliers and the water fountain in the back.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite spot to sit in. I do a lot of. I work in event production, and I do a lot of events over there. Sometimes we do the March of Dimes over there, and whenever I gotta be over there, like I'll have to be there at like maybe like 10 o'clock at night, like right as something is letting out, and I gotta work overnight and shit, and I'll just post up right there. Smoke myself a nice blunt before the work get cracking. It's a beautiful spot. Beautiful. New York City is if people don't understand, like it's a gorgeous place, and like people often like I know
hectic.
You know
this should have break the wrong
right?
motherfucker, but
it breaks
yeah,
people.
It should have break the wrong
people.
person.
And I hear people whenever I hear people be like, "Oh, New York isn't what it is." I'm like, New York is never what it used to be. because New York is always ever evolving. But
I'm gonna tell you something deeper than that, though. New York is
energy.
New York is so. New York is the home base for magicians because New York is whatever you want it to be, whatever you make it. There's not many places that's like that. But like I'm sitting here telling you my story, and I went from one rabbit hole to the next rabbit hole and found one situation to the next situation. Only a city like New York can do that for you because there's no. That's what I said. When you come outside, it doesn't matter if you live in the projects and you live in some rat hole, down the Lower East Side of Chinatown or over a train track or some shit. It doesn't matter because there's so much action. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you into, whatever you want, whatever you're looking for, you can find it here. You know what I'm saying? This is a hat, and there's always a rabbit you can pull out anywhere. But you got to have the mentality. You know what I mean? You got to have the mentality that you want it. If you don't want it, I mean, that's anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, and honestly, being a New Yorker gave me that mentality. Like, I feel like you could drop me in the middle of the fucking Amazon and I get that shit popping in 48 hours. You understand me?
We gonna figure it out. We gonna figure it out.
I don't know, but we gonna figure it out.
We gonna figure it out.
And New York, New York is that kind of place. You grow up here, man. You figure it out. You know what I mean?
I mean, look, you gave several stories already that are like, come on, you met a dude that was like, hey, do you know where there's like
walking down the street?
Walking down the street.
And that got you to France.
That got you to France. That doesn't happen, right? That doesn't happen to people in other places because New York City has a culture of like you walk here. Yeah. So like you walk and you meet and you run into people that you've never met before. Do you know how many? My wife has the story of like walking down the street and like a lady coming up to her and being like, "Yo, you're beautiful. You can model." And she ends up in like a magazine. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Because like
I don't have a bunch
New
of
York
stuff
City.
Like that happening.
That happens in New York City, but only in New York City. That's not happening. That's not the story of like Perth, and that's not to knock Perth, right? Shouts to everybody in Perth. You know what I'm saying?
I like Perth. I had a good time in Australia.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's not the story, the way that New York runs and operates. That's not the way it is in other places.
But as I said,
look, even in Vegas,
a million even
in Vegas, where like they have like a area where like people do a lot of walking around and in between all the casinos, there's a lot of walking around. But it's a different. Yeah, it's a different vibe. It's
contrived. You know what I'm saying? It's a trap. You know what I mean? It's man-made. It's a man-made beach. Ain't no sharks in that mother.
Let's do a throwback, right? It's that New York City has one of your favorite book titles, right? It's a choose your own adventure kind of place. You know what I mean?
That's
like New York City.
That's what I said. Whatever you want it to be.
Choose your own adventure. In other places,
whatever you want it to be.
You can have a good time, but it's by the book. It's the book that exists there. It's the playbook that everybody goes by. But in New York City, you could choose your own adventure and you can make your own playbook.
Let me add a level to that too, right? Because it's talking about the mentality. It's not even just like I said, if you got the mentality of a magician, right? Like I said, you just pulling rabbits out of hats, right? It's not even just like this place has it. But being here, you can conceive something like you can. New York continues to recreate the template. You go to one place and the template is the template and it's on a loop and it keeps going. But New York is a place where the template can always be recreated. There's always a new template. You know what I'm saying? And you can create that here. You're not stuck in any box unless you want to be. Some people that come from other places, they like it. They want the experience that's already here. They want to buy into what already exists. But a lot of people are here. That's why a lot of creation and artists and makers, you know what I'm saying? God level people come here that create, that make. You know what I'm saying? Because here you can make anything that didn't exist before. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. New York is a genesis place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Facts.
So
let's get back to the story.
Before we do that, can I ask something from the comments from the people?
Yeah. No,
this is for the homeboy Lindell. Who are some female hip hop artists that might have influenced you along the way that you would
Hold on,
want to
pardon.
shout out?
One of my homegirls, she was like, hold on, I'm still on it. My homegirl, she a barber. She's like, I just got off work. I'm still doing it. I'm texting. I'm sorry. I'm texting.
You're doing this is the real life,
You
y'all.
multitasking.
This the
You're a
real
New Yorker.
shit. Yes.
This is the raw. This is why
New Yorker.
Twitch is like the raw version of like all the fancy shit. It's the raw. That's what people come here for. And then there's editors.
All right. So, okay. So female artists that
influenced you.
Female artists that influenced me. I mean, well, of course, my girls that was on the scene at the time, because you go home writing your shit, and like I said, there wasn't that many of us. And then you go to the open mic and you see these chicks blowing shit out. You're like, oh my God, I gotta go back home and write some more shit. So I want to mention all of those chicks again, like all the Anomalies, Pre, Halix, Invincible, Jean, Sarah, like everybody, all of those females, Yejide, you know what I'm saying, with her smooth self. Okay, she's my homegirl's tuning in. What's up? I don't know if she's in yet, but big shout out to my girl Cassidy. She a barber chick. She nice with these clippers. She don't play no fucking games. You hear me? It's like, the clipper game, like the rap game, but we can get to that. Y'all can ask me about that later. Female barbers, that's like
female barbers,
shit, right?
Not for nothing. That's like, I've seen it, right, as a New Yorker dude, right? Like, there's like,
yes, bitch. What's up, Cassidy, girl? You in here, right?
The pushing.
Sorry, I'm
the pushing. You good. The pushing of of women, like, as barbers.
Yeah.
That used to be a taboo. Yeah. That did not used to be the thing. You know what I mean? And now it's like the thing. Like I see guys leaving their barbers because they're almost kind of like chasing the wave, where they're like, nah, everybody got like, nah, I need to have
not
a woman.
just that, like, it's nice to have a woman touching you, but I had guys tell me that they like women for the details, right? Like they like women because women get into the details.
Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense, right? Like, a woman's gonna know what a guy's supposed to look like when he's supposed to look good, more than a guy.
I think same thing. Like a guy will change the template. A woman, like a guy knows, masculine shapes, that energy. But a woman knows what she wants to see. She wants to know how she feels when she look at a dude, right? Like, you know what make you weak in the knees, and you're trying to recreate that all of the time. That's why I tell my clients, I'm like, yo, my job is just to make you a little more fuckable. You know what I'm saying? So to help you create the version of yourself that you want people to believe you are.
That's what it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Earlier before we started the show,
I didn't even finish answering that question that you asked me about the female artists, because I don't want to forget my maidens, because we can get back into the barber and shit too in my business. But I used to like I guess like all the chicks everybody else talk about. Like, I like Light, I like Antoinette, Ice Cream Tea. I gotta say that I wasn't crazy about, I mean, that's way back, right? I wasn't that crazy about Cam and Foxy. I got a new appreciation for them now as an adult, a little bit further past the game than I did when I was younger. Because I felt like like when you was talking about women using their sexuality and trying to control, take ownership of that. And I say yes to an extent, but it was also a gimmick. So I wanted to be, imagine going to a hospital and you get a female doctor. You choose a female doctor because she got bigger tits than the male doctor. That's never going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And I was just always wanted to be respected in my profession. So I never put and I'm always the only, one of the only females in the room. You in these rooms, you in these spots, and it's like wall to wall and smoke, and there's all this testosterone going around. And imagine me coming up in it. These chicks didn't come up in these places that I did. You know what I'm saying? They getting put on by Puff, or they was not in the open mics. They was not down in the streets and battling and all this other kind of stuff and doing what I was doing. Maybe somebody like Nicki Minaj was, right? And you see her back in the tapes in the days, she wasn't dressing like how she do now. You know what I'm saying? But you want it to be respected, and you come in those spots. You don't want anybody looking at your boobs. You want somebody listening to what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it wasn't a matter of not being feminine or not embracing my femininity. I was embracing my craft. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted my craft to speak for me before I wanted my body to speak for me, because that's easy. You know what I mean? Dudes, it don't matter. You come outside in a burlap sack, you know what I'm saying, and a black eye, and the dudes still want to, give you some rhythm or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
this is a fact. This is a fact.
Getting laid is easy. We all here because somebody got laid, right? So that's not hard. Yeah, that's not hard. But to be respected was not easy.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
It was very difficult back then. In New York City, it was very difficult to get respect.
I mean, it's easy for everybody now.
Work for it.
Yeah, it's easy for everybody now. Like, you can kind of have a little wavy image. Like, a lot of the stuff that fly now, even in terms of like, like the dudes and the cats that's coming out now, like none of that shit would have flew back in the day. Like, yo, you remember that story with KRS-One coming and grabbing the PM Dawn dude off the stage and busting his tail or whatever? None of that. Yeah, no, he came and threw the dude off the stage, man. It's a famous story. Right. I remember one time I did a party at what the hell was the name? I can't remember. It was on 28th Street, but it was a popular spot at the top. I did a party, and my homegirl, she came through, and I want to shout her out, but I don't want to say her name because
you don't want to associate her name with the
with the event,
with the story,
right?
With the event,
with the story, but she was a female artist at the time. She didn't even get as much light, but she knew a lot of people. She was well connected. Like I said, the scene is small. Everybody knew everybody. But she had brought ODB with her to the show, right? And he performed. And there's a story I think about him doing the same shit to the Roots. They brought him on the stage and they couldn't get him off. Same shit. It was like a showcase. So there was a lot of people performing. Everybody had a time slot. Yo, he got on the stage and took over her whole set. I think she did one song. You know what I'm saying? And I had to go to ODB and be like, yo, bro, like you gotta.
You had to be the one.
You gotta. Yeah, no doubt you're a superstar. We're so blessed to have you here, but everybody trying to get like you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody trying to get like you, so you gotta get off the stage, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's like, so, but it was like that, man. Like this whole this whole rap thing was like, it was just like the gauntlet, man. It was like, you know what I'm saying? It was everybody trying to get seen, everybody trying to get heard, and so like I said, a lot of stuff now, like people doing stuff in the music is like fashionable, it's just casual. You know what I'm saying? People making stuff they know is hard. It's not really that complex. Like people was literally trying to beat each other brains in with their brains. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trying to be clever. Trying to make you think and
trying to outwit each other. It
was definitely a game of wits at the time. You know what I mean? So it was good times, bro. It was good times.
Good times were had by all.
Good times were had by all.
So how did the MF Doom record come about? Like, Doom just hit you up and was like...
No, actually, Doom didn't even hit me up. We did record the song together because a lot of times I did records and I did compilation projects. I wouldn't be in the same studio. Sometimes we did, but after a while, like I said, I have my own equipment, you know what I mean? So somebody would shoot me a beat. I didn't have to be, Starbucks. One of my clients, I guess he was looking. At the time, like, I didn't have to be in the same room. I could just record whenever I was doing it. Most of my money I made overseas and overseas projects, because like I said, I was touring, I was traveling. That's how I made my money. You know what I'm saying? I do my record. I know you did the hip hop thing, but I'm sorry, I didn't know they were your songs. But I learned, okay. My client texted me while hey David, what's up, bro? Anyway, this record we actually did where we were in house together, and was a guy, I don't even remember how the fuck I met this guy. Know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. And he said that he was producing that Vaudeville Villain album with Doom. and that he had this vision for a record with us on it. So when I first heard the beat too, it was real slow. You know, MF Doom is real animated. So I was just like, I don't know. It's one of my most popular records though. It's like probably my most popular record that I've ever, you know, done, because everybody knows Doom, you know, he's a legend or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, and people, like every day somebody send me a message and tell me Facebook, wherever, people, Twitter, and people posting and retweeting and this song every fucking day. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, somebody when we were playing your music at the beginning, somebody said that that song was how they discovered you as an artist.
A lot of people say that,
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. But that record did open, you know, a lot of doors for me. And again, you know, like you got to keep doing things. Like I said, I'm a little bit more on the entrepreneurial side, and my focus kind of shifted. Like I said, I have to have children because I couldn't tour. You know what I'm saying? I did my last tour 2 months after my son was born. Yeah, you know, like I said, I kind of embraced myself as a different person, and I'm like a lady. I just had a baby, and I couldn't. I went to Japan for 10 days to do a Nujabes concert. He had just passed away, and I was like, I was dying because I was away from my brand new baby. You know what I'm saying? But the artist life is the life that I know, and I got to think about it. It's crazy. Leave a 2-month-old baby with somebody for 2 days. Who the fuck does that? Like what guys do that. I would go on tour and then guys.
That's not even like. I didn't have. It's not even a question. Nobody's even bothering the guys. Like, what? That's no big deal. That's the way it's supposed to be, bro.
It's a way different look for dudes. I mean, as a matter of fact, Shabam. I mean, except for Spinner, but Shabam, Plex, all of them had kids already. They all had families. Complex, we used to go to the studio and we would be doing our shit. He came pick everybody up in a minivan, bro, because he had a family. You know what I'm saying? And he had a family.
That's dope. Like, that's dope though.
Yeah.
That's dope though.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't have any kids at the time. I didn't have kids till I was in my 30s. You know what I'm saying? Because it just wasn't, like I said, it was Peter Pan lifestyle. It just wasn't a thing, you know, like, because the guy, you can go away and you be on tour and your wife is taking care of your house. Your wife is taking care of your kids. But when you're a female artist and you have children, like I said, the artist life was all I knew, and I kept seeing myself through that lens. But then when I became a mother, and then, like I said, to meet my baby, I was like, oh, we got to do something else. You know what I'm saying? We got to do something else because the baby is, you know, it's about that baby. You know what I mean? So my son changed my life. I always said, I tell him that all the time. He changed my life, man. But in all of the good ways, he opened up a whole lot of portals to knowledge for me that I didn't have access to before he came through. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
what kinds of portals of knowledge did he unlock?
I mean,
I don't know.
Having a child. Everybody that I know that has children always expresses that they didn't understand life
the same way
until the same way. Like once you have a child, life becomes like a different understanding.
It's the same thing, like I said about transferable information. I mean, you just have this perspective that changes, that's so different that it touches how you think about everything. I mean, nothing that you do is the same. I mean, you don't shop for groceries the same. You don't drive the same. You don't spend your money the same. You don't think about making money the same. You don't think about how you spend your time and the value of your time the same, right? Like right now, I got a family. I'm out here, like I had to hustle. Like I said, I went to my client or whatever. I work for myself, but the way I value my time is different. You know, if you got to pull me out of my house and you're pulling me away from my children, you got to be talking about something. I don't go come out of my, you can't call me like, oh, let's go to the bar for no fucking reason. Like for what? I got a bar in my house. Like my grandfather built a bar in my basement. I got all the liquor. What you want? I got gin. Like I said, I got all the apps. You know what I'm saying? I could cook. I got the snacks. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Punny said, the fuck I need that shit for?
Yeah, I don't even need your company. Like now when I think about it, even partying for a living, I think about going to a party in a club differently. Like I'm going to a party in a club, it just feels dumb to me. I'm like, I'm sitting here in a box with a bunch of strangers listening to loud ass music for what? You know what I'm saying? For what?
I mean, I get
Everybody
it.
out there,
I get that a lot more than I want to admit.
Yeah, like people out here, they want to be seen. I don't give a fuck about being seen. If I want somebody to notice me, I'm gonna just flip the switch and turn my shine on. You understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
A lot of a lot
course.
of people out here is just customers. You understand? But I'm trying to self-serve. You know what I'm saying? I'm like that's that New York shit. I'm taking what I want from life. I'm pulling my shit. I'm a magician. I'm pulling my shit out the air. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the fuck I want. I'm not going somewhere to be seen or to be recognized or to validate me or to be like, oh, look at me in this dress. I'm spinning. Like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I clean up nice, but I don't give a shit. I love being incognito in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even care about fun that way.
Yeah, I mean, but but my goal is to try to do what I want, right? Like, I want to be on my own time. Like I said, my life is valuable to me. My time is valuable. I'm not a slave to routines that don't serve me. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying not to be. I mean, I'm a human. I'm flawed. You know what I mean? But I'm just trying not to be a slave to routines that don't serve me.
Yeah, this is like big knowledge nuggets right here.
Yeah, or ideals that don't serve me. You know what I'm saying? Or even money. I like money, but when we start talking about that, I'll just say like money is not real. Money is an avatar for value. The buzzword is value. What's valuable? You know what I'm saying? Like, look at Russia right now. They said the ruble, the political conditions changed. The ruble was worth one thing one day, and the next day it's worth 1 cent. Money's not real. Money's not real.
No, it's a big fact.
It's an avatar. Fact.
It's an avatar for value. You know what's real?
Yes.
Your labor is real. Your labor is real, and the time that passes that you expend your labor is real.
Yes.
So what you gonna spend it on? You understand?
Yes.
If I'm coming away from my family, my family is the highest value to me. It's the highest priority to me. So if I'm gonna leave my highest valuable, most valuable thing for something else, what's the offer? You understand what I'm telling you?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't give a fuck about no job or any of that other shit. I'm pulling my, like I said, trying to pull my shit off the air. You know what I'm saying? Do it, make it for myself.
Yo, that's like wildly powerful statements.
Thank you, sir. It took me a long time. I had to bang my head against many walls. You know what I mean? I fell many times. You know what I'm saying? Many times.
Nah, that's but that's, you know what? That's the way that you learn, right? In life. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Being successful without losing, you're not gaining much. You're just gaining an inflation of your ego over time that just keeps on progressing, because at the end of the day, without the failure, there's no contestation, there's no growth. Failure is where is what is gonna give you the opportunity to grow as a human being.
Failure is a laboratory. That's like I tell my kids right now, like, because they're young, right? So they don't have, that toolbox of experience. So like, it could be a little thing, like if we're doing something in school and I say, okay, well, you did this wrong, you're supposed to do this. They might break into tears because they got it wrong, right? They're trying to meet expectations. And I tell them like, look, man, I said, we eat mistakes. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you that you need to embrace the wrong answer, because the right answer will surely proceed the wrong answer. The wrong answer, like a guess, who knows, right? But you get the wrong answer, for a fact that you won't get the right answer right after. So you might want to start, you might want to welcome getting the wrong answer. You might want to welcome just going out there and stepping out on faith and seeing what happens.
Also, knowing what doesn't work.
You know what I'm saying?
Wisdom.
As I said,
valuable.
It's super wisdom.
But so it's like kind of like that's why I said, like, the idea of going to a party and creating a version of yourself and sculpting yourself for people to admire. When I do that, I'm doing it because I feel like it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that because I'm trying to, impress strangers. You know what I mean? If I get up and I get dressed and I'm gonna get, like, today I'm coming on an interview, I'm here to present myself, so I clean myself up. If I'm going somewhere to talk to somebody about some money, I'm gonna go look like some money. You know what I'm saying? But just to be walking down the street or to be talking to people or just be in the hood and have a name brand on or have some fly shit on for somebody that, I have another thing. We're talking about colloquialisms and things. Like to say one of my favorite things, I don't remember who told it to me, but what the next man eat don't make me shit. You know what I'm saying? That's one of my favorite things that I like to say. I'm worrying about myself. You know, what I think, how I feel about myself, you know?
Yo, I swear, like, there's a lot of people who basically spend their whole lives trying to understand that. And you just, like, nailed it so succinctly and, like, to the point.
My favorite one.
Because, yeah. Sorry.
No,
I'm saying because the game is like that also, because, like I said, you do music and, like I said, you kind of like get stuck in this like celebrity, and then you start thinking about how other people think of you, right? Like I said, I haven't put out a project in a long time, but you get in a room of artists, what they're gonna say? Oh, when's your next project coming out? Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then you start thinking competitively, as you know, instead of thinking about running your own race and thinking about your own value and doing what you want in your own time. And if you even feel like doing that, like I love music. I still consider myself a maker and a creator and a God level, whatever, like I said, a magician. I create every day, right? But am I interested in necessarily doing hip hop music? Maybe sometimes, but I feel like I said, I had a ministry in terms of what I'm doing, but where I'm at right now in life and the things that I've embraced, I feel like my ministry is a lot bigger, right? Like I thought of myself through one particular lens, but now I have so many more talents. I could lay hands in so many different areas. You know what I'm saying? And also parts of myself that I want to, other parts of myself that I would like to develop and grow. You know what I mean? So I'm not interested in running other people's race, just saying, oh, well, I'm doing this, like just to impress people. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that I do has to serve a purpose. I saw one time on Reddit recently, but you know, that's again, still, like I said, I'm human, so I still do have some ego, and I Google myself sometimes to see if my name's still living a long time.
Your name still rings bells, B.
My legend is still popping in the streets.
Your legend is still popping.
Yeah, so I saw a thread on Reddit, and the dude was like, I heard she's a barber. Why would you want to not be a rapper and be a barber?
The fans, the fans that don't, you know, come from here and don't know what it is. Like,
well, people want what they want. They have their expectation of you and their vision of you, and that's just because, you know, they're like, I need more, you know, like they want you to feed them, and I get it. It's like I said, you know, but what I think there's so much value in what I do, and one of the reasons why that I work with men all the time is because, like, as women, you know, we kind of got the beauty game on lock, right? Women been going to take care of themselves, but my clients are kind of on the high end side, and not kind of, they are on the high end side. And I'm like, you know, dude might have on like a $50,000 Rolex and a $10,000 Tom Ford suit, but he got a $25 haircut. So, you know, there's just kind of something off about that. You know, men are underserved, I think, in that respect. You know, as you know, being the kings or the bringing home the bacon, right? Like, you know, they're sort of being in charge of their household, where they just there's kind of like this disparity in their services, right? And you talk to men about their looks, it's almost kind of like it's not even a manly thing to do, right? To talk about your looks, or to be concerned about like what they had. They started calling it metrosexual, right? Like this kind of.
It's super. It's always mocked. It's always mocked.
Yeah, he's condescending, sort of.
If you care anything about how you look, or like if you care too much outside of what is considered the norm by men, then you're immediately, you know, like like, oh, you know, he's gay, or so all sorts of different craziness.
Absolutely. So, you know, for me, like when you even talk to a man and do a consultation, you know, they talk to you like an abused wife, where you're like, so what are you gonna do? And they're like, oh, well, you know, if you cut it too short, it's fine. You know, it's just hair, it grows back. And, you know, like, no, nobody hit me, and I just ran into the doorknob, you know, like that kind of you know, that kind of vibe.
You know what though?
I'm
Like
saying?
I want to pretend like I don't have that reaction if somebody were to ask me what I want to do with my hair,
Right,
but
right.
that's
You
exactly what it
wouldn't
would
even
be
That's
know.
like.
You
exactly
don't
what
even
you
know.
would say.
That's
Right.
it.
You
Like
don't.
I went to
Right.
a female hairdresser because I realized my hair's too long for like most dudes to deal with. And I
Right.
went, so the guy sent me to the girl chair and I didn't know how to talk to
Oh
her.
wow.
I didn't even understand that shit.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like men have virtually, like, literally no expectation that they're going to get something that imagine a woman going to get her hair done and she has no expectation that she's going to walk away with what she wants. She would start flipping
No,
tables in that
shoot.
motherfucker. You
Yo, you
understand?
know what? I was literally
Furniture be
just
moving.
last night I was watching Ali Wong's latest stand-up on Netflix with the wife. And Ali
Right.
Wong is super, like strong woman. And she was super talking about that, where she was like, yo, women, like, what? Are you kidding? Like, women,
Right.
we like, when we want something, we getting it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
a woman is not gonna exist without whatever it is she set her thoughts upon. You know what I mean?
No
Like,
fucking okey
no,
doke at
like
all
no fuck,
whatsoever.
like
No,
no. You know what I mean? And if there's
no,
Right.
it
if
doesn't
there's a
matter.
man in the relationship, he's gonna like, in her comedy bit, she's like making this a joke, that like
Right.
that dude's gonna be miserable until she gets what she wants. You know what I mean? Like like you heard, like, until she gets what she wants, homie's gonna have to suffer because
Yo,
I know my
woman.
husband told me at times I could be very stressful.
it's I understand it. I've made that mistake when I
Yo,
found out. I've learned with dessert choices. If she says a dessert choice and we get a different dessert choice, that shit's gonna show up in the house within 3 days. It doesn't matter if I'm there or not. It will arrive. And so I've just learned that it's cheaper to give her what she wants right away because ultimately she's gonna
Right.
get it.
Because
And
there
then we
will be
bought
two
that other
desserts.
shit. Exactly.
Right.
It's just gonna happen. And
Absolutely.
she's salty, which is not my favorite. So you give her what she wants and you win.
Papani.
Right.
I know
I
this
try not.
feeling.
Well, you know what? I could be salty, but I try not to be salty. But I do. I put a lot of effort into getting what I want. Like I said, pulling things out the air and creating a certain level of comfort for myself. And that comfort for me is, like I said, if I want to have a drink, I already got the drink in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Anything
I
that
want
you need, you got.
Yeah. Have, like, just down to some little shit. Like I don't want to be cutting garlic. I got me a little garlic press. You know what I'm saying? Just like whatever. My little accoutrement. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it takes to make my life a little bit more comfortable and convenient. I go to, I don't want to say great lengths, but I decide I want it and then I go make that happen. You understand? So
it's powerful. You just that's a self-help book. Honestly, pretty much all of them. You just broke it down into a sentence.
It's not a self-help book though. Then that'd be like a self-help pamphlet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
That's like the bullet point form, like the pamphlet version. Yeah.
You want to hear some real shit though? Like that's kind of one of my goals in life. When people say, "Oh, what's your goal?" I want to travel the world with no luggage because everywhere I go, I already gonna have this shit there. You know what I'm saying? I just want to get on planes and don't just get on planes and don't take nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just my
actually sounds fire.
Yeah, no.
It's super fire. Why not?
I never even thought that was an option till you said it.
It is an option.
Absolutely.
It's an option because I want it. You understand? That's the magician shit. I decide that's what I want. And then I'm gonna go try to make that happen. Yo, let me tell you some wild stuff right before COVID. Like my kids right now, my kids homeschool, they go to a virtual private school. And I was saying a year or two before COVID, because my son is very talented, but he also he embraced that early. But boys, having issues and stuff, and he don't like structure. You know what I'm saying? And he used to always be in school falling asleep in class. Like I'm talking about from like first grade, second grade. He decided that he ain't fucking with it. He just tuned out, or he would go leave the classroom. They'd be calling me like, your son's running around the hall and we can't find him. You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. But
sounds like me.
Yeah. So what happened? Right. So what happens is that he starts to get a reputation that kind of becomes a manifest destiny thing, because now the adults have decided that that he's a square peg.
You're a problem.
All the holes are round.
Yeah.
Right. So then they would just be calling me for like crazy super fit. Like you started to see that the attitude would change because then they were starting to call me for little shit. Not I used to be like, yo, listen, if the motherfucker didn't set the building on fire, don't fucking call me because I'm fucking busy. Okay? So but I said to myself, I said, you know what? I would love to put my children, and like I said, when I was younger, a lot of my frame of reference was built around the fact that I had this career that I created for myself as a young person, and I traveled. I did what I wanted. I created something for myself based on all of these, like I said, I had all these little prompts, all these to keep going. And I said, you know what? Good information is transferable. That if I could do that with that particular talent or that particular time of my life, I could recreate that at any time that I want with whatever thing I focus on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I started to say, man, I want to put my kids in a school without walls. I just want to like kind of travel. I want them to have an unconventional lifestyle, and I want them to learn the things that I learned earlier than I learned it, to give them an advantage. I want to put it in the buffet for them and let them sample that early and figure out what life should really taste like. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID came, and then they had the homeschool, and I was like, man, I hope they keep this shit up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it was the thing that I was envisioning, the school without walls, but it didn't exist. I didn't know what to call it, COVID or online school or virtual, whatever the hell it was. It didn't really exist except in my mind. There was no template for it. So after COVID and they was trying to send all of the kids back to school, I was like, first of all, my kids, I live in a multi-generational household. My kids are not going to be no guinea pigs. Nobody knows what they're doing. I just didn't feel comfortable just throwing them back in. Plus, my husband is in Trinidad and we have a home there. I want to be able to go back and forth as I please. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to try to figure this out. And I kept looking for programs. And I don't know, at the last minute, I found this one program, but it's basically what I wanted, right? Like, it's the school without walls. You know what I'm saying? And we found it. And my kids love it, right? Like I said, my kids are super smart. So they have an opportunity to embrace, be on their own time, right? Their school experience is entrepreneurial, right? Because they can learn at their own pace as much as they can absorb. And honestly, it made my son doesn't fall asleep during the day anymore. But listen, it's homeschool. We flexible. If you're tired and you want to take a nap, we can take a nap. We get up a half an hour late, and fuck it. We get up a half an hour late. You know what I'm saying? And we just continue. We just go out a half an hour later. You know what I'm saying? So, now we walk by, we live next door to an elementary school. So while the other kids in school, we might be taking a trip in the neighborhood, going to the store, doing the activity. And sometimes we go by the school during recess and I'm like, yo, y'all want to go back to the building? I mess with them all the time because I know they don't. They be like, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? It's regular schmegular for them. Like I said, everything right now, like I'm just trying to teach them, like I said early, how do you create something for yourself? You could visualize something and it may not exist when you visualize it. How do you build a castle in your mind and then make it tangible in the real world? You know what I'm saying? So for me, like I said, I've been able to crystallize that, repeat. Like I said, good information is transferable. If I found a method that works for me and the method is the mindset, a mindset that works for me, how can I just reapply that and reapply that and reapply that to different situations and turn situations into what I want, right? Because you get used to a thing. You get used to, like I said, you walk into a warehouse and get free shit, or I don't still necessarily do that, but it happens to me in other ways in my life where, like, I got a great client owns a Chick-fil-A, and I mentioned that, oh yeah, I want to go take my kid to a ball game. All right, so we got tickets. It's my first time ever going to a game, and then we in the box seats and we got the fancy stuff. So a lot of times I'll just say something and it just kind of come to me. I'll be like, oh, I need it. X amount of dollars, you know what I'm saying? And then when I'm not expecting it, you feel like, oh, I want to do this, I'll do that. And then, something drop out the sky for me. You know what I mean? It's like I said, it's like sort of a mindset. And then, the minute that you doubt yourself and the minute that you doubt that it's possible, that's when
That's when it stops.
That's when the mindset falls through. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you have to just be doggedly persistent about creating your own reality and not worrying about whether you see that template already existing around you. Just decide what you want. And then you go about trying to get it. Sometimes it's like I said, overnight success takes 10 years, right? It's not easy. You know, you might have to put the work in, and it takes you a long time. And you know what I'm saying? You put that work in, and it might take you a while to come to fruition, but it will come. You know what I'm saying?
Overnight success takes 10 years.
I didn't make that up. That's what that's a popular
That's
thing.
good,
I've heard
though.
people say that. Yeah, overnight success takes 10 years. You don't see the struggle. Like, you know, like they talk about the wife wasn't shooting in the gym with Kobe. That you see somebody successful, you see him on TV, all of the years of preparation and in the mindset. You gotta have a monster mindset.
Yeah,
right?
Facts.
To get to that success. And then also you know, some of the information that I fill my head with, like I like people like Grant Cardone. If whoever's listening, if y'all don't know who Grant Cardone is, fuck with Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone is crazy as shit. He's a super sales guy, but he got this mindset where you just don't quit. And I like that. He said he wake up every day and say, "Who got my money?" You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. Every day you wake up and you come out with a killer mindset. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I'm a killer, I'm a monster. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm human. I have days where I'm like, I don't feel like killing shit today, but you know, I'm a parent. If I don't go out and kill something, we don't eat. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, that's another way that my children kind of changed my mindset, right? And I know, like I said, I like being comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm out there seeking the comfort, right? I'm out there seeking the comfort, and I know I got to kill something every day. But yeah, my mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah.
Mindset is everything. These are big facts.
Yeah.
Yo,
Facts.
you just dropped wild. I'm like, yo,
it turned into like a master class.
Like I needed to hear that. Like I'm dead in the moment right now that I needed to hear that. And like I know that, but I needed to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody needs to be reinforced, because you gotta, like I said, it's an everyday thing, and you gotta keep telling yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you gotta keep telling yourself, don't quit, because nobody will do it for you. There's a lot of people that you know, that are stuck themselves, right? You know, people you may love, people you care about. A lot of people that stuck themselves, and they don't have the wherewithal to pull you out the hole.
Yeah.
If you fall in the hole.
They don't got the tools, like you said, right?
They don't have the tools, man. They don't got the tools. You know what I'm saying? They can't pull you out the hole if you get in the hole. And that can't even be the mindset. Like, yo, that's how is that the mindset that if you fall in the hole, you waiting for somebody to pull you out? I mean, I know that's what kind of people be thinking sometimes, like, you know, all that lean on me, or friends, or like all that friends. Like, I'm on that Rasputia shit. What I tell you about friends? You know what I'm saying? My Norbit shit, like, you know, I'm like, if you get into the hole, you gotta pull yourself out the hole, man. Like, you know,
big facts.
You know, hopefully somebody does come along, and you know, like I said, I've had people tap me on the shoulder and help me, but even still, you know, there's a limit to that, right? Like, you get to certain levels, you get around successful people. You know, I don't care, you know, what you say. A lot of times, like, especially living in New York, you got a lot of opulence around you all of the time. And people that don't have it, they look at people who got it and always think that they stole it from somebody, like they didn't work for it. You understand? Or you even talk about this 1% kind of conversation. And this is not me having a conversation where I'm trying to, you know, defend greedy people, because everybody who has money is not greedy. You understand? No. But they are driven. They are driven. Honestly, I feel like a lot of the successful people, as I said, if I got my opportunities, a person who ain't got it can't put you on. Only a person who is successful and has something to spare, right, can give you something, right? So just that whole ideology where, you know, like I said, people are greedy or, you know, they trying to hoard it. That's, you can kind of cut that out just at the bottom, because somebody who ain't got it can't give you anything.
Yeah.
And
They have nothing to give because they got it. So you have to get something. Yeah, you got to get something from somebody that got it, right? So all of my opportunities that I've had, you know, a lot of them have been from people that have been successful and had looked at me and say, "Yo, you belong here." You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna help you out, but I had to do work. I wasn't sitting at home waiting for it to fall out the sky. I had to go put myself in a place that I could be around people. I had to go where the people who got it go.
You had to go outside.
You know what I'm saying? I had to go outside, man. I had to go, but not just anywhere outside. Because sometimes you go outside, you're in the wrong place, especially in New York. Like I said, like you said, whatever you want, you could get here. You want to catch a bad one, you can catch a bad one too. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you want a blessing, you got to go where the blessings is at. You know what I'm saying? So, and I find that a lot of people that have, you know, or successful, or they're doing a lot of things, like success is relative, right? Perspective, you know, everybody's success looks different. But people who are doing things are usually like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, you do this. They're very free with information or opportunities. Like you and I follow each other, Flacko, on social media. So I don't know if you saw, like, I just started doing a mentorship with Goldman Sachs, which is so far away from rap.
I think I saw that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got that referral from my client.
That's wild.
I'm his barber, right? So if he wanted to, you know, if he wanted to just think of me as like a barber, right, and put me in that box, he could have, right? But, you know, just like I said, you know, kind of person I am, places I go, kind of conversations I have or whatever with people. My clients, honestly, I joke all the time. I tell them they are my social life. I'm a party, but I have some magnificent conversations and I learn something every day. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, look, I was talking to him because I'm also back in school. I'm studying computer science. I did music. I flunked out of college multiple semesters because I was going on tour. I would go register for classes and something. When I went to France, the semester had just started. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of different stuff. People like, oh, you want to go here? And I'm like, absolutely. Fuck that school shit. I done fucked up so much financial aid under my mama's name. You know what I'm saying? Back when I was young and I was going to school or whatever, because that was what I was chasing. Like I said, now I'm a little bit older. My values have kind of shifted a little bit. I always like to learn, but you know, I was like my son. I didn't do well with structure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I had like need to make it for myself. I couldn't fit myself into somebody else's structure. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, my client had hit me up and was like, yeah, I was talking to him about things I'm doing because he works in the tech world. He used to work for Goldman, but he works for Facebook now. And I don't know if he's listening. Hey guy, I'm not gonna blow up his name, but hey guy.
Shouts to him. Word.
Yeah. But anyway, so he was like, yeah, you can use my name. I'll call somebody for you. He told me about it and I just never saw myself, because you think about Goldman Sachs, you think, you know, it's a very successful company. Like they're elite. They're like the best. They are a huge wealth incubator. You work for Goldman Sachs, they're going to make you rich. You understand? So I just never saw myself in a place like that. So very like conservative and in corporate, even though I code switch pretty well. You know what I mean?
I was about to say, I wouldn't be shocked to find out that your code switch.
Yeah, so I code switch pretty well. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but like I said, I create what I want, so I don't necessarily have to. Right?
I mean, that's the thing about the city, right? Is like it forces us to be different people in different rooms,
right?
And that's not a bad thing.
Different rooms, different areas, different parts of town, different vibes. You can float into whatever vibe you want. But he was like, yeah, you can use my name, you can do whatever. And I didn't. I started, you know, because I had to write like a little cover letter to get in, and I had versions of it that I wrote that I had his name in it, and mention that I was referred by, a former employee or what have you. But I never did. I just used my own thing and got in on my own merit. He's still telling me, listen, when you get to the end of the program, there's gonna be like a little interview. So like, just call me beforehand. I'm gonna tell you, like, so I'll put you up on some lingo and just kind of things that you need to drop when you're having a conversation with them, right? Saying he had something extra to give me. It's a guy he had necessarily. I'm doing a service for him. He's paying me for that service. We're having our interaction. He had absolutely no reason. We had a conversation, called me like a week or two later. He said, yeah, I was thinking about that conversation that we had. And I think you should apply to that program because I look at the qualities and the successful people there. It's a great shop, great place to work. And he said, they got these these programs there. He was like, you should, while you're in school, he said, you should go and check that program out and, use me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know. Are you still there?
You're breaking up upon me.
I'm breaking? Or not? Yeah. It's all frozen at the moment.
No. Oh,
and it's gone. Damn. That's like, wow.
I keep getting kicked off.
She's back.
I'm sorry.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I keep getting kicked off. But yeah, so I mean, like, long story short, I've had, like I said, like tons of opportunities like that, just and being inquisitive and asking questions. Did you hear people say stuff like, oh, when you're trying to do something, like, don't tell anybody. Are we on? I can talk, right? I'm not like.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Hello?
You're good. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear us?
Good. You're good. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. So yeah, I so you hear people say, oh, don't tell anybody when you're trying to do something. But I find, like, back to the mindset thing. If you are not sure, then yeah, maybe you shouldn't tell somebody. But how you gonna put yourself out there if you don't talk to people about what it is that you do? You know what I'm saying? Or what it is that your goal is, because you tell the right person, they might connect you to it. You know what I'm saying? They might open up a bridge for you. You know what I'm saying? So, but then again, that's what I said. It's about your network, right? You got to be where the blessings are at. You can't be sitting around on the block, or
opportunity doesn't come knocking at your home.
Nah, I mean, you gotta go out. Like I said, you gotta go out and kill something every day. You gotta go out and you gotta talk to people. You gotta put yourself out there, and that also means, like I said, like me having been in a box or to doing music, like I realized that I needed to work on different aspects of myself, right? Like I needed to be able to put my hand in different pots. I needed to come out of the idea, and I had to accept that I had a lot of different facets. I had different layers, and that it was okay for me to explore these things. I didn't have to just be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, the world was much bigger than that, and there was conversations happening in other rooms that I didn't even bother to go in. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was in some great rooms having some great conversations. I mean, you can imagine you traveling all over the world and, like, people are doing things for you. Like I said, just shit that I fell into on accident. You know what I'm saying? So now the next level was putting myself in these places on the next level and making that a conscious effort. And it's still a process, right? Like I heard Justin Bieber talk about that the other day. He was saying that, he got problems and people, he was talking about it from a little bit of a shallow point of view, talking about how, people looking at him like, oh, you're rich and you're driving a Ferrari. And he's like, yeah, when I got that Ferrari, he said, yo, I was so hyped. People were getting in the car and I was showing them the glove box. Right? He was like, now I just think about, like, sometimes I drive it, I'm like, yeah, I wish I had a different car. Because there's levels to this shit, right? He's like, yeah, I did that already. You know what I mean? So, it's the same thing. It's like, you get to a goal, but there's never an end level, right? Boss level is at an infinity number.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's at an infinity number, and you gotta keep trying to climb it. Like I said, you keep moving up the ladder and you go into all of these different floors. It's funny too. Like if that book, famous book, Dante's Inferno, even the Quran, right? They talk about different levels of heaven. right? And how that world is almost like a mirror to this, where there's levels of preference, right? And when I think the preference, you know, like I said, if you got a certain mindset, you might think that sounds terrible, but it's like to whom much is given, much is expected kind of thing. If you want it, if you're out there getting it, if you're out there pursuing, right? If you're out there actively leveling up, you start to kind of create a wave of preference for yourself, a favor, right? You create a wave, a bank of favor that you can withdraw from. You know what I'm saying? You can withdraw from it, and you could use it when you want. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
it's like treating opportunity almost like a muscle and training yourself to like build up to
absolutely
creating
that's a great way to put it.
I don't hoard anything, because I just feel like the more that I give out, the more that I'm helpful, the more that I let go of money, the more that I give to people, the more that I see that things come back to me. So like that's just been
that
like
is
just
fact. That is a
keep
fact.
on
I find
keep on putting out, keep on helping as much as I can, and it'll come back to me all in due time.
I find that the opposite thing kind of happens to me too. Like when I do something greedy, like even something small, if I'm in the subway and I find something that doesn't belong to me and I don't make an effort to return it to somebody and I keep it for myself, that I lose something. Like the next day, the next week, I find that it also goes in the reverse. That if I want to be greedy, I mean, now back to the hoarding thing now, because you know there's a fine line with that. Because, like I said, you know, when you out there hustling and creating things for yourself, you also get an appreciation because you start to kind of like you said, build the muscle, build that mindset. And sometimes you can't give everybody, can't help everybody because they're not ready. They don't know what to do with it. You understand?
Yep.
So it becomes squandered. You know what I'm saying? You gotta kind of gotta meet people where they are and at the level that they are. Because I would be like that, like the same, like, you know, especially like, you know, when you at the lower levels of just kind of discovering that superpower, you like you hear that shit in songs every day. I want to put my people on. I want to put the whole hood on. You cannot. You know what I'm saying? And there's you can't, because some people not ready.
You can't walk. You can't walk for other people.
Yeah, they not.
You could give them a blessing, but they're not gonna know what to do with it. You know.
Well, you can't give them every blessing. You can't. You know, you can't get to the third floor unless you get to the second floor. Sometimes you kind of just gotta throw out the jewels a little bit and see where people are. You know, you gotta meet people where they are. You know, if I got something that I can do for you, or I can, you know, that's cool. But sometimes, you know, you're talking to people and just this conversation that we have, and I have, you know, this conversation with people sometimes, and they don't even get that. You know, they'll still go back to, oh, but it's hard, and oh, you don't understand it. Oh. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's hard. If it wasn't hard, everybody would be a baller. You know what I'm saying? But that's how you know, like I said, every rich person isn't a thief and every rich person isn't greedy, because it ain't easy to get there. And once you've gotten there, you know how much work it takes. They already know that. You know how much work it takes. Can't waste your time and waste your efforts and your energy with people that don't really get it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying not be in these rooms with people. You gotta be around all kinds of people. You know what I'm saying? I remember one time, again, things that transferable information, right? I got a cosmetology license. My first day of beauty school, the director walks in and gives us a lesson. And he said, what kind of place, you know, you should be eventually thinking about opening your own salon. He said, do you want to be at the affordable salon? Do you want to be at the super expensive salon? Like what kind of business do you want to have? So, you know, you had all kind of answers. You had people that was more hood that was like, I want the affordable joint so all my people can get on. And then, you know, you got people that was like, I want to be at the rich joint. And I was more in that mindset too. Like, yo, why would I? Because that, you know, that's what I do. I'm like, why would I cut hair for $30 when I cut hair for $100? Right?
Yeah.
So, But he said, nah. He said, when you get in your thing together and you're building a network, he said, you want to be in the middle. He said, because you could pull people down and you could pull people up. You know what I'm saying?
Gem.
And that's, that's a transferable gem. Right? He said, you want to be in the middle. So, you don't want to be, it's the same thing with any type of polarization. You don't want to be all the way to the end of one issue or all the way to the end of another issue, because everybody has a different perspective, and the truth is somewhere in the truth is based on what people's truth can also be subjective, right? It's based on people's experience and their outlook, and we're all the sum of our parts and our experiences or whatever. So my truth may not look like your truth, right? My success doesn't look like your success. My goals don't look like your goals. You know what I'm saying?
One day we're gonna be a cool show where we have like the fucking sound effects, and when you hit that perspectives, we should have like been able to hit the button. It'd be like perspectives. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay.
Drop some bombs on it like Flex.
Noted. We'll find a way to make you be able to push buttons.
Yeah, I just gotta get a stream deck. I need to stop. I gotta invest into this as much as I invest into the music and what I do with that. You know what I mean?
Like anniversary of this interview, y'all could do like the anniversary edit, and then y'all could throw
hit them with the horn.
Throw the flex bombs on it, right?
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm sure we can pull that off. I just haven't looked into it either. But honestly, it's a vibe.
Yeah. Facts.
And you be dropping like big knowledge nuggets.
Yo,
that's what I call them.
Wild,
stop. Like the last 45 minutes just
sis.
felt like a TED talk.
It was. Thank you all for coming.
But
to
you
my
know
TED
what?
Talk I did a TED Talk at Lincoln Center, motherfucker.
At Lincoln Center, son. What?
That's wild. It's like you were outside. Hold on. It's like you went into the streets, got inspired, and the whole tone of what you talked about changed.
Yeah.
She let New York City inspire her too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, New York City is that energy. That's another thing that's great about this place. I remember, because I live in Queens, I remember coming over on that bridge. Every time I'm out here and I look at it and I'm like, yo, this is a big ass light bill, man. We got money to pay for this shit. We did this shit is powered. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
All the way powered. You know what I'm saying? It didn't look like this shit 24 hours a day. The lights don't go out in this city. You know what I'm saying?
When I'm down there, sis, I always do window watching. I'll be looking up at all I'll be like, damn, that dude up the top one living nice. I'm gonna get there one day. You know what I mean? On the top floor, one of them buildings. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's what I said. You gotta associate with all kinds of people, because you gotta meet. You gotta get with the earthy people that that's living simple and making things with their hands, because that's a lesson in humility, right? And not just humility, but making a lot from nothing, right? Because we all know that too, like being people, like from our grandmamas. Like I said, my parents, my grandparents was from the South. I don't think my grandfather had more than he had a 3rd or 5th grade education. Came up here, made it happen for everybody. You know what I'm saying? He just had the will. You know what I'm saying? And so that's important. But then it's definitely important to talk to people who have things that you don't have, because it gives you an idea how to get it, or that it's possible. If you could touch that person, that person is accessible to you, then why not you?
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of people. I look in the city, like I said, you out here looking at the city, you looking at all these lights, you looking at all these cars. I mean, it's not like there's a scarcity. It's out here in abundance.
Nope.
So why not me? Right? Why not me?
There's plenty of big buildings, and there's plenty of top floors. I ain't gonna take away nobody's spot. I'm just gonna get up in my own spot. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Because there's more than enough for everybody. And that's what New York City shows. And you're right about that. Like, you see, for a lot of us, I think that also, right? Like we were the privileged ones.
Hold on, check this out. You see that? Look at that. You see that family? They just came out of Lincoln Center. I don't even know what show they holding in here, but that's like such a blessing, right? Like, you could come here and you could be a little kid and be exposed to so much culture kids in the city, you know, you hanging out in a restaurant and a gang of kids come in to the sushi place. You know what I'm saying? By themselves, they got their own little money. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it just kind of puts you on a different level when you just kind of always, sorry to cut you off, always absorb it. You know what I'm saying? I love that about the city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Big crack.
Yeah. It's a really cool city.
Yeah. Subways is shit though right now, but.
Yeah, I mean, Subways is always the Subways, you know?
I don't know. It's real bad right now. It's stank.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's been a lot of upheaval with what's been happening ever since COVID. Yeah, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because
you know what? The homeless people's out here hustling too, right? There was nobody on the street. Nobody on the street for them to hustle to. So.
The homeless people in New York City is just, you know, they move in a different way, and there's a lot of people who have you know, a lot of you know, personal issues that they're dealing with, and they don't want to be in the system, and they you know, like they don't want to be inside, you know. And they're just like, yo, I'm just good, I'm just gonna ride these trains, I'm gonna manage this city how I manage it, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yo, it was a blessing. You came by, and you first off had the first half of this in the Starbucks where we went through your life story.
Super coffee shop style.
And then the second half, you hit the streets of New York City, and you fucking gave the ill TED Talk cross mix with like what's the really super famous motivational speaker dude?
Tony Robbins, Gary
Tony Robbins. There we go.
Hit
them with the Tony Robbins. It was a Tony Robbins X TED Talk. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. But and it was just like dead on, like mad education there. Like that's the biggest reason that this is a blessing to do, is because like I watch this shit on YouTube, and then I get to have moments where this is the conversation I'm having, and it was just that blessed to hear you talk. Like we didn't have to say shit. We just sat there and enjoyed the greatness.
Well, I'm sorry.
No. That's
like
the point
a
of it.
dream.
We're here.
That's the dream.
That's the name of the show, right? Like we're here to hear your perspective.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm being overly humble, like excessively humble. But yeah, thank you. I mean, I appreciate it, and sometimes it's good for me too, because you know you got a lot of things like my mom.
No, it really is.
So sometimes you got to reinforce things with yourself. I mean, you know, like I said, you know, whether you're saying a prayer or whatever, what a blessing, you gotta, you know, you kind of gotta self-affirm through repetition, right? By just kind of reinforcing your values inside yourself and saying it out loud, so you can really claim it and you don't fold, right? You know, because you already put it out there, so now you can't fold. You gotta really live that. You know, and hold yourself accountable. So I appreciate the opportunity for you.
No, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
This is like, and on top of that,
thank you
just
for
told
blessing
us
us
all
with your
about how,
and your presence.
in a sense, we're keeping you from your family and how much you prioritize that. So you went into like overtime on this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's okay. I mean, you know, this is a moment that I'm supposed to be here right now doing this. My kids will be all right, and there was value in this moment. You know, I don't do a lot of interviews. Like I turned down a lot of stuff.
You do not.
You turned, to be honest.
Listen. You turned us down initially. You know what I mean? I was like, yo, and you were like, and I was like, well, you know what, sis? I was like, you know what, sis? I'll come back around. I'll spin the block, and I'll come back. And I spun the block, and when I spun the block a few months later, you were like, you know what? Okay, and I was like,
I'm real glad you did this.
I was really happy. You know what I'm saying?
You know why? Like, I get tired of them hip hop interviews sometimes. Like they really be like, that's what I'm saying. Don't ask me to come do no like weak ass freestyle.
No freestyle. When did you fall in love with hip hop? Would you be down with being on Love and Hip Hop? Like these things that it's just like, bro. Nah. What I want is like to learn more about my friend's life that I don't know, right? Like that's why that's why we started childhood, so that like I want to get to know you better, but like also like this is what people really care about, I think. You know what I mean? Like people, the people that have been following your journey, like musically all these years, that's what they really want to know. Like they want to get to know you better as a person, and like where like an album provides value in a way that they want. I think that an interview of this nature provides a different type of value that they can also, you know what I mean? Like,
but it's like, yo, I don't even know. Like, you drop knowledge out of like, I read a lot of books, and like,
and you didn't even, she didn't even give us the whole stories, bro.
Nah,
she didn't even give us the whole TED talk either. That's like the bust down TED
this
talk.
Is just like
that was the freestyle.
All I'm saying is like, yo, you sound more like you're worth $1 million than a lot of people I've talked to in my life.
Well, I'm not trying to say I don't know. My goal right now is greater than that. You know what I'm saying? But I think like, you know, money aside, I already told you that money is not real, right? I am a fan and a proponent of success, and I'm ambitious. But like I said, like it's not necessarily about money. Money is a means to an end. Money is so that you have choices. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got no money, you can't do what you want. You just got to do what you can. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like I said, I like comfort. I like choices. I like being able to choose what I want to do with my time. So, you know, that's why I like money. But my goal is to acquire and accumulate as much value, whether that be through relationships, through, like I said, you know, things that make me comfortable. It's valuable to me to have a home that's comfortable and where the energy and the vibes are good, and we laugh. And like I said, my kids are home. We super attached. When I come in tonight, they're gonna be like, "Mommy, we thought you was never gonna come home." Like when I come home, it's a mommy parade every day, and the time we spend together.
That's super dope.
Super cool. That's cute.
Yeah, and you know what? It's corny as fuck, but we're all so close. We just laugh every day.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, we got our little inside jokes, and we in our own little universe. We go out and interact.
Real love is wild corny. Wild corny.
Yeah,
me and my wife constantly love you. I love you. I miss you, and it's
absolutely.
But you know what? Like I'd rather like I've heard people talk about like, oh, I don't like to just throw that word around. I'm just like, what are you saving it for? Like, what do you think that there's some like cachet to like not using it with the person that you love? That you should praise the people that you love the most all the time as much as you can.
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's a reflection, right? Because, you know, like I said, if you don't have it to give in yourself, the same thing. It's that whole transferable shit. People can't give you what they don't have enough of, right? If they can't spare it, they can't give it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's where that comes from. That's like another habit that I have is I like to give people compliments, right? Like I will give you your flowers. I don't have to know you. I used to, when I first got into the beauty game, I was working for Estee Lauder, and we used to have to recruit people, you know, bring people over to the brand. And I found the best way to do that was through a compliment, right? Because, you know, you think people get intimidated sometimes by the makeup lady because, you know, you're all made up and, you know, the shit costs money. I would always go to people and I would say, this is a really beautiful feature you have. Well, I really like this, right? Because people are already looking at you like you're going to tell them what's wrong with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's another giant knowledge nugget.
Yeah, well, you know what? I found that that's important to do, and it really helps you too. Like, you know, as a woman giving a compliment to another woman, or even as a woman being able to go to a perfect stranger who's a man in the street and give a man a compliment, and it's in a non-sexual way. I walk to a brother and I say, "Man, I love your shoes, man. You looking clean today, bro. You have a blessed day." I had a conversation with a lady in the train the other day. I got in the elevator with her, and she had on a nice white coat. It was Sunday. She had a little Gucci backpack on. Her hair was laid. I was like, "Sister, you know, you are shining today." I said, "I hope you enjoy your day. And you know what I'm saying? I hope you feel as good as you look." Man, I was talking to this lady in the train for 15 minutes. She started telling me how she got a ministry for men, and she was disappointed because she went to church today and they turned her away. She took my card. She was like, I'm gonna call you. Like, you know, I meet people like that all of the time because I'm just constantly like, listen, I want to leave people better than I found them. You know what I'm saying? That's just my goal, because that's another reason why, like I said, I like my job. Even like, you know, like I said, how music is, it's almost kind of similar to me, an extension of that, because what I do, I make people feel good every day. I never have a bad day because I make people feel better about themselves every day. So I realized that I need to try to extrapolate that as much as possible. I try to make people feel good. You never see me out in the street talking crazy about people. I don't really gossip that much. I don't talk about people. At a time in my life, I probably would have. I don't even like saying greasy things about people all of the time. I don't like, you know, because like I said, we all are some of our parts. Everybody got a different experience. And like I said, I learned from being in this industry that there's beauty in everybody. It's like there's value in every place, right? Every place is not New York. I'm from one of the greatest cities in the world. So any place I go, it's not going to be New York, but there's value there. There's people there that are happy. They love their lives. They love their children. They have a nice home. They work hard. You know, there's value and there's beauty everywhere you go. And if you can't, like I said, if you can't give or you can't see it, it's because maybe you're not carrying it with you, right? Like your eyes, you don't really see it. You know what I'm saying? You got the right perspective. You know what I'm saying? On what you're looking at. You can't just really put an expectation. You got to be in the moment.
I see you, Flacko. It's like she
She hit it. She hit it with the.
I be on my good shit. Like, y'all was getting ready to say good night and y'all got me started again. So let me not even hold y'all. Because I can go.
Danny just sent you love and said to you, love you, sis. You know what I mean? That's
Thank you so much.
I don't know if you're familiar with End of the Week and the Three Kings, but Vice Versus, who passed away last year. You know, that's his sister, and she helps run. She helps run this platform, and it's the EOW.
I saw her talking earlier, and I wanted to say God bless to her, and then we kind of got started. We were joking in the back.
So,
thank you. God bless you, and I appreciate you. You know, all of you.
Everybody seems to be very appreciative of your energy, Apani. Thank you so much.
Oh,
yeah, no.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
No. Hear me out.
Thank you for pulling me out of my hidey hole.
Thank you for being you. You know what I mean? Like that's like your energy is not something that like you know is like a dime a dozen, and all the love and lessons, all the knowledge that you dropped, right? That's all love. Like that's love. Like when you're trying to give people knowledge, that's real love. You know what I'm saying? Because you're giving people
takes nothing off of me to show love to somebody else. Like I said, give them a compliment. Sometimes people don't like to do that because they feel like it puts them in a place like they're subordinate to somebody because they gave it up. You know what I'm saying? So it takes nothing off me. If anything, like I said, it's a reflection. You make somebody feel good, all they do is shine that back on you. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that you know, like I said, y'all brought me out my hidey hole, and I get to take these thoughts out of my head and tell them to somebody.
And I just appreciate you taking the time to share it. Like this really is like an amazing thing. Like it's like for me, it's surreal, right? Like how do I get into situations where I talk to folks?
I see you, bro. Yeah, I see everybody checking in and out. I'm not on the site, so I don't know how many came in or who was here, whatever. Oh, look,
Sarah came in earlier too.
Yeah, I seen her. She told me she was gonna come in and bother us, and she was gonna text her beforehand. I told you I text a million fucking people. I posted this shit everywhere. But I got kicked out of Starbucks. Now my AirPods are fucking dying, so I'm gonna let y'all pull a curtain down on me.
So I appreciate you coming through. Definitely want to just thank End of the Week for putting this together, because at the end of the day, they're hosting it. It's going out to the world, and without End of the Week, this wouldn't be here. It wouldn't happen.
Thank you so much, you guys, for what y'all do for the culture. End of the Week. They asked me to come to a bunch of events that I never came to, so I apologize. But I'm here now. Y'all can hit me up. Y'all know where I'm at.
And then,
one more thing. Yo, my barber business, Blacksmith Barbering.
Oh, yes.
Blacksmith Barbering Co. Luxury men's self-care.
We'll be shit on the Prspctvs Instagram page.
Yeah.
We'll post the
Post a flyer, post a link to my
post a
site.
flyer
Facts.
so that people can. Yep, absolutely.
It's a vibe. It's not just haircuts. It's total self-care for men, facials, nails, all of the things that men don't normally get. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. And we do mobile service too. So we will come to your home or office. Like I said, my guy got a Chick-fil-A. I cut hair. The Chick-fil-A, I cut hair on your terrace. I'm everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So
that's amazing. So yeah, we'll definitely make sure the links to all that are available and everything so that people can see that. Thanks to all the people watching it. I don't know about everywhere.
Absolutely.
We've had like 10 people here sitting on my side for like at least 2 hours, 10 plus. And so I don't know all the other sides. So there's more than that.
Yeah.
So like it's been like, to me, it's just incredible when people stay. That's just a testament to how interesting you are.
Yeah, how interesting you are as a person. Facts.
Well, thank you. I mean, I know we're gonna put up the links and when people are watching and stuff like that. And I had 2 people, like I said, I know I was telling everybody, all my peoples everywhere, to go check it out. So I don't know who came, who didn't come, but everybody who tuned in, thank you. You know what I'm saying? And thank you for the support. Thanks for the love. It goes to you, Yo Dub. Thank you.
And for all the people watching in the future, we thank you. Also, like, comment, subscribe.
Absolutely.
Make sure to check out End of the Week, eodub.com, eodub.com. That's where all the links be at. It's the simplest way to do it. On that note, honestly, it was super great to have you here, and it was super great. Honestly, an amazing experience. I don't know if you have any like final last goodbye words to the people. Awesome, yo. Live long and prosper, everybody.
All right, respect. Thank you.
Gang. We're done on the Twitch side.
Yeah, I'm off.
And
Danny's usually
and
off,
Danny's here, so she's on point, and
she's
that
like,
means
yeah,
that
I already got it. I heard the live long and prosper.
Opani left already.
She's like, yeah, I gotta go.
I was holding the piss the whole time.
Oh my gosh, the whole last 30 minutes was like. Yo, that was dope. That was like